Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are here to talk about some board games.
At least for a little while until we get derailed into something else.
Yeah.
Well, we usually start derailed,
Standard fare.
then into the board games.
Yes.
Before
and
somebody
then more derailing.
wrestles us back
Yeah.
onto tracks. Yeah.
So to start the first derailing, I played Battlegrounds some more while you guys were at Geekway. I have no real details that you haven't heard before, but
Yeah.
Battlegrounds is still real good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very tempted to pick it up.
I have yet to win the chicken dinner. I really want to. I've been number 2 on multiple occasions, solo, duo, or in squad, and have yet to win.
What's your favorite of the three types?
I don't know. They all have their...
I like
bonus-
duo.
Yeah, I like duo. I like squads. I like solo. In solo, I can go and be like, you know what? I'm going to land in the building right next to that other guy, and I hope I get a gun before he does, because then I'm going to go hunt him down. And that's totally what happened in my last game. He ran over into my building and had nothing. He ran past me as I was shooting him. He went into a room, closed the door, threw a smoke grenade, and then just sat there. And then I was like, I got all day. I got guns. And then he finally came out and I shot his head off with that crappy double-barreled shotgun.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Did you know that shotguns can just blow up doors too?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a lot of episodes, though, so we now have found out that you can blow up doors with shotguns in Battlegrounds.
Yes.
And I think that's all we need for Battlegrounds.
Wow. Okay. That's fine.
It won't be the last. You know that, right?
Yeah. Don't worry.
For this episode.
No, it won't be for the last for this episode. I'm making you a promise. Don't worry. It'll come out. It'll come up in an opportune time. So
Okay.
don't worry.
Absolutely.
So, Jeff,
Right now, no.
aside from Battlegrounds, did you get to play any games while we were gone?
I mean, we were at game night
Yeah.
at Black Sky.
Yes, we were.
I was not.
We played Hit Z Road.
Again.
The last time we played it was at Black Sky.
Yes.
We ended up all dying. And Hit Z Road is sort of a, like, I don't know, dice rolling zombie survival auction game.
Yes.
Where there's 4 paths and you have to try and bid the most resources to get like first choice on the path. And the path can totally be great or totally royally screw you because it is totally random. It is very random. I don't think you've played this at all.
I have
Adrian.
not.
So like all the cards routes are dealt randomly, and then the only control you really have is how much you bid. But if you bid too much at the early game, you are totally screwed at the end game because you're not going to have enough resources to shoot zombies before you have to get into melee, or use gas to run away, or adrenaline to keep people from dying on the dice rolls.
Huh.
One person died on the second to last turn, and then everybody else died on the last turn.
Gotcha.
And at least for me, I went through hordes of zombies, and it came down to me versus my last zombie. And it was just one die roll, and I had a 2 and 6 chance of dying, and I died.
Yep.
Fantastic.
And
Sounds
then-
like a game I'll love.
Yes.
I mean, the resource management is the mitigation of the randomness. So that's really where it comes in. Pressing your luck on the auction and spending resources on there is sort of another like balance.
Yep.
The coolest part about Hit Z Road is everything is built out of like what looks like pieces from other games. Like all the end game victory cards are like 4th Age 7 Wonders cards, which don't exist, or a Ticket to Ride card. There's 3 phases in the game. All the early game phases, you can pick up like a little bandage or a scope and stuff. And all of those are like, they look like they're little taped on pieces of paper to Splendor tokens. So the game's got some definite style. I like it. It's short enough to where we all dying at the end doesn't ruin the game.
Yes.
It's definitely the stress in the middle of the game where it really comes down to it.
I'd agree with that.
And there are scores at the end, but at the point it's like, I'm the only one that lived. Hooray!
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Hit Z Road, it's real fun. I like it.
Cool. Did you play anything else that night?
When do you want me to talk a bunch about Blood Bowl?
After we're done talking.
After
Okay.
we're done talking.
All right.
And I just mean with the episode in general.
Just at the end,
Yep.
when it's like, all right,
When
we're
no
done.
one's listening anymore.
We've stopped recording, and now you may talk about Blood Bowl.
Yes.
And meanwhile, I'm going to go crawl into bed. Just lock up when you're done.
Lull him to sleep with your dulcet tones, guys.
The most dulcet of tones.
So, Zach, did you play anything at game night you care to talk about?
I played Hit the Road.
Cool. Well, I didn't go to game night
No, you didn't.
because I was in St. Louis, as you remember from last week's episode. My family ended up working all week, so I didn't get to play any more board games. I know I kind of talked about playing Alien with my mom and my brother. So instead, while everybody worked, I did a little bit of productive stuff during the day, but then most of my evenings were spent playing either Prey or Ghost Recon Wildlands,
Prey's real fucking awesome.
both of which are awesome. I liked both of them.
I haven't played Ghost Recon. I heard it's good in co-op.
Yeah.
But I've been playing the shit out of Prey whenever I'm not playing Battlegrounds.
Yeah, it's a bunch of fun. I'm probably going to try and pick both of them up.
If
But
you
yeah.
like BioShock, you will love Prey.
Yeah, I also get a little bit of a Dead Space vibe off of it.
It is a weird alien, kind of John Carpenter alien sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach and I were at Geekway all weekend, and we got to play just a bunch of games.
I was not there.
Jeff did not come.
I was working.
You're coming next year. We're making you come next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You needed to be there.
It was a metric fuck tongue.
Okay.
So
Zach, did you play anything that particularly blew you away?
yeah. So my favorite game that I played there was probably Flatline. So this is a sort of follow up to Fuse. Fuse is a game where it's a real time game where you're rolling dice to defuse bombs. And Flatline, some of those bombs went off, and so now you're curing the patience of the people that got hit by those bombs. And so this one still has a real-time aspect to it, but it is a much gamier version.
It's a bigger box.
It's a much bigger box. It's a more expensive game.
You all got a copy of it.
No, just one copy.
Just one copy.
I mean, you all got one copy of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paul got the last copy
Uh-huh.
because we went there Friday morning, and they're like, "We have one copy left, but I'm not the guy that can sell you games." And we're like, "Well, hold it for us." And he's like, "Okay." And so we ended up playing it Friday night and Saturday night.
Just Saturday night.
I saw pictures. I was jealous.
Yeah, it's really cool. You have 4 different patients that you are trying to cure, and that they all have dice symbols on there that you're trying to match up. And some of the lines are like one person has to do these 2 different symbols.
I'm not sure you can cure bomb wounds.
Sure
Is that
you
really is that
can.
really the term for it?
Yeah,
Treat?
yep. No, we're just
Yeah, like
Curing.
so a bomb went off, and there's like ancillary people that are hurt, and you gotta help them.
You're curing them of their gushing wounds.
yes.
Okay.
with dice.
Well, so it's futuristic. It's in like some space station
Okay.
or something.
All right.
So there's-
That makes more
they look
sense,
so. It
I
looks like
guess.
there's like 4 pods, and like they latch. So like I think you're in the pod, and you're using the pod to do special advanced surgery stuff.
Yeah,
But you still have a time limit.
yeah. Basically, the actual action phase of rolling dice and then putting you just have 1 minute to do that. But beforehand, you can actually strategize and be like, all right, we need to focus on these people. This one looks important, so if anybody, you need 3 dice and only one person can do it. So if anybody has those 3 dice, yell that you have it. Some things require everybody have to do 1 die. So it's like, make sure to save 1 die at the end. And I know I and Adrian at different times were like, we put the last dice out, and once you put the dice down, you can't pick them back up.
And we were actually really strict on that.
We didn't have any dice left, and we were going to fail that part. And we're like, shit.
Yeah.
So everyone has their individual pools of dice?
Yes.
So you're not out of a shared passed bag or anything
No.
like that? Okay.
No, everybody. So you have there's
Are
8.
are the dice similar at all?
They are identical.
They're the exact same,
identical.
just different
Okay.
Well, except for
colors.
colors.
Okay.
It's like everybody has their own color of die, but they have the exact same faces.
But they're D6
Yes.
and
Yeah.
different colors.
And so, yeah, you basically, everybody starts shaking them, and then whoever's got the timer ready, they're like, all right, throw them. And as soon as you throw them, you hit the timer, and you have 1 minute to look at what you rolled and then figure out where to place it all.
Yep.
And it gets hectic and nuts, and holy crap, that
Well,
game is hard.
Yeah, and not just that. Like, that's not just the game. You also have like this deck of emergencies you have to deal with. Some are they're not triage. What was the other one? This stat or
Stat, yeah.
It's you have to match these 3 symbols, and if you don't do that this turn, that card turns over and it's a failure. And if you have if you're playing with 5 people, if you have 3 failures, you lose. And then there's also the emergency cards.
Yeah.
That are they go on either like a numbered slots from 1 to 6, and you have 2 dice that you roll at the beginning of your turn. And so say 2 and 3 activate, and they have cards underneath them. You deal with those, like somebody loses a die, or you have to remove one of your cleared rows out and unclear it, or you have to add an extra blue card, and so it gets hectic.
It's a lot like Fuse.
Yeah.
It's worse.
It is worse. It is.
it's better as a game.
It is definitely
It's
a better
way
game.
harder and way more stressful, I think, than Fuse
Yeah.
ever was.
So playtime comparatively.
45 minutes.
Okay, so it's about 4.5 times longer
Yes.
than Fuse.
Yeah, because
Almost
there's
exactly.
there's a decent amount of like stuff that happens between the live play. Like, so it's like when you're rolling
dexterity
the dice,
part.
the dexterity part, the rolling and placing dice is 1 minute slots.
It's
But in
basically 10
between
minutes long.
those,
So for that, yeah.
there's longer times where you're sitting there and you're like, all right,
Okay.
well, if we don't cure that and that and that, it's going to royally screw
Yeah.
us. And then we need to fix this patient, which will get us this bonus, which will help us fix that patient, which will do this,
Yep.
which will do that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Roll the dice, and we didn't get the right dice, and we're screwed,
Yeah.
and we're all going to die.
Well, then also there's this spinning thing in the center
Okay.
that relates to the pods. It had like there's 4 different slots, and depending on where like this electricity is going to when you cure the pod, either good things or bad things can happen. So if a bad thing's up, you're like, we don't. Even if you're one away from curing it, you're like, we don't want to cure this one because this will hurt us. Or if it's like a really good one where you can actually clear a row out if you get it on a certain pod, and so you can have cascading effects. So it's like, well, if we cure this one and we have one row left on this other one and then another row left on this other one, we can actually cure all 3. And so prioritizing is really important, and it is really fun.
I liked it a whole lot.
It's going to be a great game night game.
Yeah.
Nice.
People, it's going to be even harder at game night, though, because people are going to be drinking and
Yeah.
like not fully paying attention, and it's going to get crazy.
And
When I-
we're going to be yelling even more.
Yeah.
Of course. When I saw that there was a copy in your possession, I was like, it exists.
Yes.
It does. Yeah, you were like, did this even come out yet? And I was like,
Yeah.
it released at Geekway.
Nice.
So.
So that was great. I played Tramways with Adrian. I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I don't know if I like it. It passed my first play. I'm going to do a second play, and then we'll go from there.
Which is good, because I think that might be one that I push for our next cycle, for the heavy game of that cycle.
Well, good luck.
Especially if what I'm expecting to be announced this upcoming weekend is actually announced.
Right.
Which it will be announced. It's the Golden Elephant Award winner.
Aha.
I'm expecting it to be Tramways. So if it is, then that will solidify that
Right.
Tramways will get coverage over here on the show.
Gotcha. And then we just played a whole bunch of play and wins, which were basically they had this library of games that if you played them, you got a chance to win said games. A whole bunch of games, and we didn't win any of them because we all have shitty luck.
Okay. Well,
Paul didn't win from the play-in win.
No.
He won a door prize.
all
Subtly
y'all
different.
won some other shit. So
Well, we all just got other shit.
just
Like that's
got-
just like, hey, you walked into the convention.
Here's free games.
Here's free games.
do we want to spend this time for me to complain about what Paul won?
Yes, go
Sure.
for it real quick.
Paul won a copy of Rune Wars,
Yes.
which is the new tabletop wargaming miniatures game, and he got a free copy of the base set, which is $100+, and I am super jealous.
Yeah.
He said
was-
you were very excited when he told you.
Yeah.
They're giving away another copy, and I was telling Paul, it'd be hilarious if I won this one.
I really want to play it. I'm excited for Rune Wars. It looks like a sweet game.
The unassembled minis look cool.
Yeah.
And so I will be interested to see what they look
I
like together.
offered Paul for me to assemble them for him because he probably doesn't know how. I mean, I'm sure he could figure it out.
Yeah.
He's a person.
I thought he was a meat popsicle.
But I have all the tools and glue and things to assemble those things.
Right.
Anyway,
So yeah, we did do a bunch of playing wins. One of the ones we did that I really kind of enjoyed was Brewcrafters, which basically, to sum it up very succinctly, because I want to talk about other things, Agricola for brewing. So like you're running a brewery instead of running a farm. You're constantly like, oh God, how am I going to get enough ingredients? How am I going to have enough money? I'm not going to be able to pay anybody.
how am I going to feed my brewers?
I'm taking loans I can't ever pay off the loans. They're just massive negative points now, and I'm screwed.
Sounds a lot like the brewing industry.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was funny because like so many of the things that happened in it, I was like, well, that sounds about like actual brewing. Like just weird little like quirks of how things worked. Whereas like you start with like I think it was 6 money, and it's like you count up how much your starting expenses are on your base board. It's like, oh, it's at 5. So if I buy anything, then I have enough money to operate for 1 year before I fail. And it's like just like a real microbrewery.
Nice.
That was probably my least favorite game that I played. Because, like you said, it's Agricola with a theme. Not an Agricola fan. And then also the other one was New Bedford, which was about whale hunting. And it's just another worker placement.
I really want to try the expansions for New Bedford.
I would try that,
feel
too.
like so the game itself just felt really light. I didn't.
It felt super quick, too.
It was really quick, and it felt. I don't know. I didn't feel like there was different enough strategies for how to win the game. It was like basically you're going to get points for whales, a little bit of points for money, and then there's 4 buildings that people could try to build that will get them like 3 to 5 points. None of those one things were super enough to like form an entire strategy around it besides shipping. Maybe I don't know. Maybe with more plays or more people, I've heard the expansions do help, so I want to try it with the
Gotcha.
expansions.
And then one more game, and then we can transition to Adrian. First night we were there, we played Magic Maze with Brandon from What Did You
Yes.
Play This Week? This is a game, it's a cooperative game. You're just trying to get 4 different characters to 4 different slots on a maze and then get them to an exit.
Which are different 4 sets of slots.
2 different things. One, everybody has a card, and a card is like left or right. And if I have left, I'm the only person allowed to move a character left. Mm-hmm. And number 2, you can't talk while you're playing the game.
So it's cooperative.
And it's cooperative, and you have this red token
yeah.
thing, and it's basically, this is the do it button. Like, go do what we want you to do.
But you can't tell them what you want
what it
them to
is. So
do.
you're just like, I just put it in front of you. And Jeff, you have to figure out why we want you to do something.
Just do.
Yeah, and so like it'll be funny. Like you'll put it in front of somebody and they'll do something, and then you pick it up, and you set it back down even more forcefully. Like, no, that was the wrong thing.
Yeah, 'cause
do
multiple-
a different thing.
Because there were times when we were moving 2 different figures at the same time, and they were focusing on the wrong figure, and we wanted them to turn left because you also have a power. It's like go through a portal or use escalator, and they would use the wrong one, and you're like, miming at them. And then just pushing it down, and they're just like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what you want. But there are these spots that if you move a character to, it basically, because you are also on a time limit, a 3-minute time limit ish. That if it runs out, it's over.
Okay.
Well, I say ish because Brandon's copy, one side was 2 minutes and 45 seconds, the other side was 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Interesting.
Depending on which way the hourglass was facing, the sand
Yeah.
ran at different times.
Don't know.
Slight imperfections
Yeah.
in the glass.
Yeah.
Who knows?
If you go to the spot, you basically get to put the hourglass on its side, and you get to discuss what you want to do, and then you just flip it over, so you can keep time going. Like
Flip it to the opposite side.
opposite side. So if it had you had 1 minute left, now the opposite side you have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
And at one point, Adrian accidentally went into the wrong spot and moved it to an hourglass to get one of the characters out of the way. But the thing is, if you do that, you have to do it. And we had like 15 seconds.
We were like 15 seconds into the round.
So he put it down, and then we immediately had to turn it over and rush to another hourglass. So there was only 4 in the game, and he wasted half of them. We were just like, what the fuck, Adrian?
There was something I did similar in one of the Timeline games where I messed up and basically cost us like almost an entire turn. We played Timeline with Brandon also, and so they were all making fun of me for wasting a bunch of our time in the movie one. I drawn a blank on that name.
Magic Maze?
Magic Maze, and then for wasting a bunch of time or round or whatever in Timeline. It was awesome.
I played a bunch more games, but I don't feel like talking about them. So you're up, Adrian.
One more quick shout out before I get on to the main thing. I got to play Gallerist with Alan, listener of the show. He was the one who won our Imperial Settlers giveaway. Lives just on the other side of St. Louis over in Illinois. Had a bunch of fun. Taught him and his girlfriend Sarah. And then Matt, who I had vaguely was aware of through Twitter and then actually got to meet and everything. A whole bunch of fun. Really enjoyed the game. Matt won. He said it was his first time ever winning Gallerist, so that was pretty cool. And then later on, Alan tweeted and said to him and his girlfriend both that was their favorite game at the con. So happy to help. Always down to play Gallerist. But then the main thing for this show, I got to play Indonesia, and holy shit, I love Indonesia.
It's an expensive game.
It is a very expensive game. Paul got for $32.
A basically harpooned version of the game,
one,
to be
pretty much.
fair.
That one got pretty solidly damaged.
Ding and dent.
It was dinged
it was
and dented.
And straight hole punched through.
Yeah.
Bali on the map of Indonesia, for anybody who's played the game and you know the map, Bali by like maybe a half of an inch missed being annihilated by this now like ocean volcano that exists in the game.
Yeah.
It's about the size of a quarter punch in the board.
It took some real damage, but thankfully nothing that makes it unplayable.
But it's what MSRP $120.
160
Well, yeah, MSRP is like
added,
120, but it's out of print.
Oh,
they had
okay.
it marked as 160 at Miniature Market. He talked him to an 80% off because of the massive ding in the back. And it was one of those, like, it was in shrink. And so, like, we could see there was a big hole. And, like, you could see through the big hole in the box that there was a big hole in the board. And it was like, is it bad enough to ruin the game? And so he bought it for $32. We opened it up and unfolded the board. And we're like, oh, the main big hole is off in the corner ocean over here where it doesn't matter. And then there's a little bit of a hole by Bali. I hope Bali doesn't matter. Well, then I got to play it later, and Bali's kind of important, but we didn't play on his copy. We
Yeah.
played on a fresh, clean copy. But yeah, it's another Splotter game, so it has moved in my rankings after even just one play. It has moved above Food Chain, I think.
Yeah, he told me that it replaced Food Chain Magnet.
As my number one favorite game. He keeps leaving it off the modifier. It has not replaced Food
It's
Chain.
like you don't understand quotes, Adrian.
I will absolutely continue to play Food Chain. And I will need a couple more plays just to confirm, but I think Indonesia has moved above it. It was an awesome, awesome game. I got very aggressive with corporate mergers. So you can take like one company from Zach and one company from Jeff and be like, these are going to merge. And so you guys have to bid on the now merged company and only one person gets it. And because I called the merger, I can also bid on it. So I'm going to make you merge a company, and then I'm going to buy it from you. And now it's my company, and all of the stuff that it makes and sells now comes to me. And I got real aggressive with that. Too aggressive. It cost me the game. I did not win. I'm already going to play it again this Wednesday at the pre-HeavyCon board game meetup at Peak to Peak Brewing. And I'm likely going to try and play it again at HeavyCon as well. I want to basically like rip through a few plays of this game to really get into it. I'm very excited about it.
Coming up next week, how much Adrian hates Indonesia.
Possibly.
The tables have turned.
But yeah, overall it was a great convention. Thoroughly liked Geekway. This is our first time going to Geekway, so I am not. I've never been to any of the venues. This was their first time at this venue. I thought it was fantastic. I saw on the Slack channel a handful of people said it was too cold in the main gaming space. I never had an issue with that.
I never did either, and that's a good. In my opinion, that's a good.
I'd rather it be a little bit too cool in a gaming area because it keeps you from getting all sweaty and funky and nasty.
Some ones that I've been to, it's like you just hit a wall.
Right,
And
you
you're
walk
like,
through the door,
"Oh,
and it's
no."
like it's a veritable moist wall as you enter the gaming space.
It's got its own weather patterns. Rain, humidity, clouds.
just fog.
Terrible, terrible fog.
But that was awesome. We got to meet Brandon from What Did You Play This Week?
Which is great. Yeah.
Which was fantastic. We showed him the graph of like what going on the conversation thing did, and he was like, "No, that wasn't from that." And Zach's like zooming, and he's like, "Yeah, right there, middle of December. We were like on in December 16th. Like, yeah, that was
Yep.
through the roof." But that was awesome. Got to meet Matt Franz and his co-host from Cardboard Carnage. I got to meet Gil Hova
Yes.
from Formal Ferret and talk to him a little bit about networks. I did not get to play test. He had with him a demo copy of the expansion.
When we first got introduced to him, it's just like, we I have some, we know someone that knows somebody who knows you, and he's like, cool, and you could tell like that of, yeah, okay, nice, and then he's just like, we're trying to figure out the name.
Well, he
and
goes like, "Who is it?" And I'm like, "I don't remember."
Yep.
But I
Well,
can
our
find
friend left your friend a message about you, but we have no idea who this middle person is.
But then we found out who it was. We're
Yeah.
like, it was Andrew, and then it was this person to you, and he's like, oh yeah, I remember her, and then we actually got to talking.
Yeah, he's like, I'm still really good friends with her. Like, she
Yeah.
helps me out with some
yeah.
stuff.
And we're like, yeah, we were the mile. And he's like, oh, okay. So there was recognition in his eyes.
That's why I need to go with you everywhere, because you have no idea how to talk to people.
I do pretty good at talking to people.
He does pretty good at talking to people.
No, the
Yes.
problem is once a question is asked.
Yeah, just don't ask me questions.
Yes.
Just talk to me.
Just
don't
like,
ask me questions.
and then he shuts down.
Yeah.
I also got to meet Stephen Bonacor, and I was telling him the story about like you met us at Gen Con. I was like, we were at Gen Con. We had the giant pandemic game, and all of this it's the same thing with Gil. It's like blank stares. I'm like, you were dressed like a monk. We gave you a beer, and he goes, oh,
Yeah.
you gave me a beer. He's like, I was about to go play test. It's like the memory of the beer triggered everything in his brain where he was like,
Not the giant pandemic.
I know.
Not the man sweating to death in a hazard suit.
Yeah.
So I talked to him for a bit. He gave me his card. He said he would be happy to come on the show because
Sweet.
he goes on all the shows.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll try.
How
and
much
work
more
some of that
impressed
in.
would all these people be with me there? That's really the
I don't know,
the
Jeff.
lesson I'm getting.
You should have come, and then
Considering
we
all
could
the
have figured it out.
self-loathing that you put into the podcast.
Need more vacation time is what I need.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I'm saving it all for Gen Con. Boom. You don't get one.
Oh, I hate you guys.
So you met a bunch of fancy named people.
Yes.
Then two other quick notes before we move on. I got to see final production copies of both Lisboa and Feudum, and holy shit, they're both beautiful. I can't wait to get my copies. That's all.
It'll be very exciting to play those games.
For me and possibly you, probably not for Zach.
Yeah.
I appreciate all games
Yeah.
except Magic the Gathering.
So All right, so that it wraps up our quick flood of coverage from Geekway. There were, like Zach said, a lot more stuff we played and did that we don't quite have time to talk about.
Played Crokinole. That was great.
You did some recording and stuff there too, didn't you?
We did record an episode with Brandon. We will see if it actually ever gets released because the mics weren't omnidirectional mics. They were directional mics. And people didn't do a great job of passing them around and talking into them. A few of us, like Zach and I, were trying to do a good job of projecting our voice. So
What was that?
I think it was
it's
his
just the one
impression
time.
of Galaxy Quest.
Yes.
And it was funny. I know, like 5 minutes into that episode, I was like, all right, I'm going to need to shut up a little bit. And Adrian will too, because otherwise it'll just be Brandon talking and then you and me just going, yeah, so this, and this, this. How about you, Adrian? You do a blah, 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 blah. And then we just look at other people, blah, 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 blah.
Anyone else? Anything else? No?
No,
All right,
no.
here we go. Continuing
All
on.
right. No other
As people
opinions?
know, yeah, we have opinions and we just want to squish them into people's faces.
Once again, if I was there,
If you were there, that would have become the Mile High Game Guys. Talk about
it
stuff.
really would have.
that's why we have a fancy own separate recording device that we can go off into our corners with our omnidirectional.
Yes.
And
Yes.
talk.
I don't think blackjack and hookers too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah,
Forget the blackjack and the recording.
so we will see if that episode ever sees the light of day. If
Much like our time stories.
It was fun, so I hope it does.
it was a lot of fun. I did really enjoy it. It was great getting to hang out with everybody and talk board game stuff.
It's always fun insulting Adrian with more people around.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine how much everyone enjoys listening to us do it, but
Yeah.
then other people witnessing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was great.
I feel like I didn't, nobody ever confirmed this, but I'd like to imagine that everybody who we got to meet who's listened to the show was like, they really are like this in real life. It's not an act.
Yeah.
They're offensive, cursing drunks who constantly rip on Adrian.
There's no way we would be talented enough to fake any of this.
It's very true.
So,
All right, are you people done talking so I can bore all of you to death now?
So yes, we can now move on to the Bloody Minute.
The Bloody Minutes. I got my game 4 of / round 2 preseason games, and then I've had 2 regular season games. I lost again, so I am currently on a 4-game losing streak with the Dub War Bosses. This game came out a little bit more in my favor, casualty-wise. I was playing Wood Elves. I was playing the Morning Woodsies. All of their team member names are pretty great, like Balsa, or their catcher, Mahogany, or the War Dancer, Elm and Ebony. All named after trees, of course, which is
Wood elves. Got
Wood
it.
Elves. Yep. I had a rough start. I got fame for once. I had enough fans show up to the game where I got fame +1.
Ooh.
Yes, I was very excited because most of the time I get about 3,000 people showing up. This time I got like 7, which was enough for fame. With that fame, came some pretty good advantages. The game started off on the kickoff with the Wood Elves getting a blitz, which is a nightmare when you're receiving the ball against Wood Elves because they just get a free turn before the game even starts.
That's not good.
It's not. It was pretty brutal. He ended up getting the ball in the backfield, I think like turn 1 or 2, or turn 2 of the first half, and scored on turn 3 of his because my guy couldn't pick up the friggin' ball. Which always happens with my guys. I need a 3+, and then I have sure hands, which gives me a reroll to pick it up, and then I don't get it. And that happened 4 times that game. I couldn't pick up the ball.
Wow.
Yeah, it was friggin' brutal.
I should put some gloves on with glue.
Orcs do that and still don't pick up the ball. The end of the first half was slightly better for me. I ended up getting some casualties, important ones on his Wood Elves. 2 badly hurts during the game. His catcher, I caused a serious injury to. That means he will be missing next game as well. He is playing Ant next game without a catcher.
Ooh, that's not good.
That's not good for him. His regular linemen are pretty cheap, only $70K, but his War Dancers and catcher are like $120, $140, and $160K. So knocking out a $120K player is huge, especially because like big guys like ogres and stuff, they're only like $140, $150. $120. Yeah, some of these guys are more expensive than big guys. Second half was another beginning nightmare. kickoff of the second half, he got a perfect defense, which means he gets to move everyone one turn.
Oh, Jesus.
Or one square, ignoring tackle zones. He has a guy with Frenzy, which means he can block someone twice and throw him into the crowd. I had parked people far enough away from the edges so that couldn't happen, except if he got a perfect defense and got a free block on a guy before his Frenzy went off. So he got a block, moved him one to the right, Frenzy, and shot him off into the end. Thankfully, he just went to the reserves, and the crowd did not rip his head off, which I have done to other people.
That's good.
I should mention that the catcher casualty was originally a kill, but he has an apothecary that lets you re-roll, and it re-rolled into a miss next game. He has a lineman, Spruce, who got a armor break. Also got his doubles skill during that game, so he's at -1 arbor, but he also got a double skill. So that one, we'll see what he does with that after the next game. Ended up being a 2-1 loss for the War Bosses. I failed 10 armor breaks in a row. His armor is 7. I needed to roll an 8 or more, and I failed 10 in a row.
Ouch.
Yeah, that was super brutal. He was counting, and I was like, "How many have I failed in a row?" And he's like, 10. I was like, damn it.
Jeff, did you finally decide to not do that?
I mean, I did get 4 casualties, which is pretty high, but for how many armor rolls I got, I should have gotten more I should have gotten more armor breaks, which would have stunned more guys, which would have given me more turns to get into the end zone. But Morning Woodsy's last game, which was a 5-0 blowout, a 2-1 against him is
with a lot of kills.
Yeah, with 4 casualties is pretty good. So I think I play Wood Elves again in a row.
The same ones or different ones?
Different ones. There are 2 Wood Elf teams on our league. Yeah. The Pumpkin Dance Squad seems to be up next, which is a Wood Elf team. So 2 Wood Elf teams in a row. We'll see how I do against the next one.
Good luck.
Yep. That's it.
Right on. I think that wraps up our whole banter and what we've been playing segment.
Yeah.
Relatively reasonable time, too, considering all the shit we had to talk about.
Absolutely. And I'm on a pressed schedule for our next game, so I will be having another game next week.
Awesome.
Gotcha.
So more Bloody Minute next week. Hooray!
All right, then.
Don't you be too excited. Quick side note. Death Zone Season 2 came out. The new star players and stuff like that. It's out. It's super cool. They put an update in the app for Blood Bowl. The app for Blood Bowl is fucking retarded.
In a good way?
In a bad way. So every single one of these rules releases, you have to buy in the app. It's like $13, $8, $2. Like if I want to put like goblins in here, I have to pay $13.
Wow.
Yeah, they just updated that today, and so I decided to rage against that for just a moment.
What? Games Workshop overcharging for things?
Yeah.
No. Whoa.
So were you just looking at your phone, just raging against that machine?
I'm going to write a cut here just for that bad pun.
So let's move on to some news and Kickstarter, shall we?
Off to news and Kickstarters. Starting with news. We don't have much in the way of news this week.
Nope.
But the Spiel des
Adrian, why don't you do that? Say that.
Jahres.
So the Spiel des Jahres, the Spiel des Jahres
Spiel des Jahres
was announced. The nominees for Spiel des Jahres and Kennerspiel and Kinderspiel des Jahres. Nominees for Spiel des Jahres, Game of the Year, are King Domino and El Dorado and Magic Maze, which we just talked about a little bit ago.
Just a bit chit-chat. The game sounded fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It looked like they had more modules and variants in there that made it harder, and I would definitely want to try those out.
Yeah. They also, each year apparently, which I didn't realize in years past, they also, in addition to those 3, which are the nominees for Game of the Year, they basically give out the next, like the top 10, essentially. Like, so they recommend 7 other ones. And the recommended ones are Deja Vu, Dodelano, Fabled Fruit, Clask, Shiftego, Temple des Schreckens, and Word Slam. Now, Temple des Schreckens, I don't know if that's a different game that I would recognize the English word for, because like earlier in the list for El Dorado, they actually have it as What Lauft nach El Dorado, which I'm not sure what Lauft nach is. Kinderspiel des Jahres, which is the game of the year for children is Captain Silver, Ice Cool, and The Mysterious Forest.
I hope Ice Cool, because that's the only one I played, but I really like that game.
Yes, Ice Cool is pretty cool.
I like it.
Temple of Terror.
Temple of Terror. Okay.
Still haven't heard of that.
Still have not heard of that. And then Kennerspiel DR, which is the Enthusiasts Award. So it's supposed to be the more gamey board game.
Some unknown ones on here.
Unknown. Yeah, well, yes. So the first one up is Exit the Pharaoh's Tomb. So Exit the game. There's a few different ones. The Pharaoh's Tomb is one of the main ones. I think it might have been the first in the series, but they're basically like an escape room as a board game.
Yep. I think those first came out, I want to say, late
80s.
last year.
Yeah.
I guess there was some that were.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, all things old become new again kind of a situation. I do believe that with the Exit series specifically, they feature component destruction and stuff.
Yeah, they're basically
So
one-time use.
They're one-offs,
Yeah.
but they're only like $20 or something. So they're
15-ish?
it's significantly more affordable than say, other legacy style
Yeah.
games. Next up for Kennerspiel DR is Raiders of the North Sea.
No idea what that is.
I have it pulled up right here. It's like a Viking game.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And then the winner.
Yeah, and then
And then some like I haven't heard of this one before. I had to do some research. Terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Are you pronouncing that right?
I think so.
I mean-
is that the German or the English?
Yeah, you want to hit that with a German accent, Adrian?
No, I do not. Never heard of it. I can't believe I haven't heard of this. I've heard of other Mars games.
Yeah.
Like Jeff and I are waiting on copies of
First Martian. Yeah.
But Terraforming Mars? I don't know. The
Terraforming Mars is going to, fingers crossed, Terraforming Mars slaughters that category.
I would love for it because that would be one of the heavier ones that's won in a while.
Yeah.
Well, and also our game of the year last year.
Yes. So called it. Right?
Called it.
Hashtag
Yeah.
called it.
Their recommended list is pretty good as well. Captain Sonar, Great Western Trail, The Grizzled, and The Big Book of Madness.
Yeah. Which are all solid games.
Yep. I think The Grizzled probably just came out in Germany fairly recently, hence
That
why
would
it's
make
on
sense,
there.
yeah.
That's one of the things about the Spiel games is sometimes they're
It's German specific.
Yeah.
So if it's not out in Germany, then they don't count it.
So the winner of the Kinderspiel DR will be announced Monday, June 19th, and then Spiel and Kennerspiel will be announced Monday, July 17th. So basically, we get one next month, and then we get the other two in a little over 2 months, or a little less than 2 months.
Yeah.
I don't know, Zach. I saw your questioning look. I have no idea why they released them separately.
Ice Cool is a lot of fun. I played that. I also played that at game night this last Wednesday, and it was super fun.
Yeah. So that is the main news. There's another piece of news, but I'm actually going to talk about that at the end of the episode, I think. So stay tuned for that.
Yep. On to Kickstarters.
What do we got first, Jeff?
We are starting with Game Upgrades 3.0.
That might sound familiar because we talked about it earlier.
Yes. So the main reason we are bringing this up is they are continuing to add more games that you can pick up through this Kickstarter. There are 10 days remaining on it
It'll probably be about a week.
by the time this episode airs. And since... Yep.
I've got stats.
There you
I
are.
wrote those down.
All right, hot stats.
57K of its 10K goal, 1,200 backers, and like I said, by the time you hear this, just a little over 1 week.
Yeah. So one of the games that they added to this one is Indonesia. And I'm pretty sure that since Paul got the entire $160 game for $32, he's going to just go ahead and buy the whole $112 full pieces, parts, everything for
Does
Indonesia.
he know this plan?
Well, I mean, he knows it costs $112. I don't think I have yet convinced him to get it. But we're going to play Wednesday, and I'm going to explain to him why it's the right decision.
Yes.
And then he's going to do it.
Well, some of the pieces are so. This edition of Indonesia had a printing error with the wooden pieces. They're about 4 times as big as they should be.
So they are about 30 millimeters.
Yeah, yeah.
And then these components 3.0 will be 14 millimeters, so about half the size.
Okay.
So they have a comparison up. Like you can actually look at the picture
Yeah.
comparison on the Kickstarter. How big the the accidental misprinted pieces are compared to how big the. Which I think
No wonder it's $160.
I don't think that picture's to scale.
No, it is not.
Like Because, yeah, I just played with those wooden pieces, and they are much larger than that picture. So those pictures are not to scale.
No.
I mean, they might be to scale relative to each other, but I don't know. I'm considering backing it and getting the Indonesia pieces just for the anticipation of when I actually own Indonesia. So I've now reached the point in the hobby where I'm going to buy add-ons for games that I do not yet own, because there's nothing crazy about that at all.
Well, I mean, probably one of the things that has been ordered most from this is the Charterstone meeples, which
You included.
which don't exist yet. So, but there's tons and tons of other games, near and far. Charterstone, like we said, Pandemic: The Cure, regular Pandemic, Manhattan Project, Energy Empire, Colt Express. Arkham Horror LCG was another one I was thinking of getting, just because, I mean, the cardboard shits that are in there are fine, but, you know, I could get like sweet meeple ones that look like hearts for $39.
You could.
I could.
You could. Yeah, go check that out. See what new things they added to the Meeple Source Game Upgrades 3.0.
Yeah. They're the ones that also did all of the Scythe upgrades. I got all the Scythe upgrades for them, and they are great, top to bottom.
Right on.
Another Kickstarter that we have mentioned in the past through its trials and tribulations, but have failed to mention it since its relaunch, Heroes of Land, Sea, and Air by Gamelin Games. This second technical relaunch, 375K of its 250K goal, 2,300 backers, and a little under 2 weeks to go. We love Gamelin Games. We love the Tiny Epic.
Well, some of us do.
Most of us love the Tiny Epic.
The ones that matter.
Yes.
I just didn't like Tiny Epic Western.
Yeah.
That's fair. You'll have a pledge level of about $80, and you can get the deluxe version with the expansion for $140, and then you add $50 to either of those pledges for pre-painted miniatures.
And the expansion, so previously they had two different expansions, Order and Chaos?
Yes.
And now it's just Order and Chaos.
Order and Chaos, all in one.
The $140, $139 deluxe set has 160 miniatures.
Miniatures look real good.
And I like the wooden ships and the wooden airships. And
So
stuff like,
yeah, there's like land, sea, and air. So if you've ever seen like something similar to Celestia, they'll have little castles, boats, and like air chariots that your heroes will fly and sail around on. It'll also increase the game from 4-player to 6-player with the expansion. This
looks
game
nice.
much more interesting in this relaunch of the Kickstarter than the original.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'll back it or not, just because it's kind of, it's a $100 miniature game that I don't know if I need or not. But
I will not be backing it. Hopefully someone I know does, because I would like to try it, and I like to look at other people's miniatures, but I
just don't want to own it?
I no longer want to spend money on my own miniatures that will never get played.
you want to rent, not buy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Lease, maybe.
Well, for the pre-painted deluxe version, you may as well put out a lease to be able to
Seriously.
pay for that. But I'm sure those pre-painted miniatures are real nice.
One would hope.
They even come back with a 30-day guarantee or whatever it is, that it's like if you don't like the minis that are painted, they will just have you send them back, free of charge, and they will send you unpainted ones free of charge as well. So
And
if
hopefully
you
a
don't-
refund for
Yeah.
the $50 painted ones.
Yes.
Money back guarantee.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a good game. I hope it is whenever it comes out next year, hopefully around March.
Right on.
That's it.
That wraps up news and Kickstarters.
It's all over.
So we can move on to our review section for the day. All right, so for this week's review portion, we are actually going to be covering 3 games. This is our review of hidden role games or hidden identity games. We're going to cover Ultimate Werewolf, we are going to cover The Resistance, and we are going to cover Secret Hitler.
Yes, we are.
So starting off here with Ultimate Werewolf, this is a 5 to 68 player game.
And probably far beyond that if you really want it.
Yes.
From 2008. It is designed by Ted Alspach and published by Bezier Games. Like I said, it plays 5 to 68 people. Plays 30 to 90 minutes. Zach, you got a quick overview of the game for us?
In Werewolf, you will be hunting down werewolves trying to eat your village. Everyone playing will receive a card, and that will assign them an identity, and it's usually on the side of the village. But a select few will receive a werewolf card, who will need to remain hidden while slowly devouring everybody else. Every night, werewolves will wake up and silently agree to eat somebody. And the following day, villagers will attempt to find said werewolves by hanging somebody. If all the werewolves are found and killed, the villagers win. But if the werewolves eat all the villagers, they win.
Yeah. So
Synced.
Yes.
the only change that I would make to that is the werewolves don't have to eat everybody.
Yeah,
If at
majority.
any point during the day phase
Yeah.
there are an equal number of werewolves and villagers, the werewolves just all reveal themselves and devour the remaining village.
And we also didn't mention there's usually a moderator.
Yeah.
Yes.
For
So moderator
those.
is a moderator is required
Mandatory.
for
Yes.
the version we're covering anyway. So we've been playing this for a really long time, so this might be a bit of a stretch to cover. But what were your thoughts going into this game, if you can remember at all?
The first time I played it, I don't remember.
Okay.
It's I mean, it's just, I think at just this point, it was, oh, it's a new game. Sounds cool. I didn't know what kind of games I really liked. It was probably 3 or 4, almost 4 years ago when I first played it.
Yeah.
So it was at our game night. It was the first time I played it.
Yeah.
And otherwise, that's about it.
Jeff, had you played before you came to Denver and joined our game night?
The first time I played it was at game night, but I had seen it many times before at various Gen Con trips because all people would do at night is play Ultimate Werewolf. I never joined any of those games because those people were weird,
Yes.
but it did look fun. That kind of game, at least.
So do you remember anything going into it? Like when you were first sitting down to play, you're like, oh, this is that weird game that people at Gen Con play? Or were you
Basically,
excited?
exactly what I was thinking.
Right on. So I don't remember a whole lot from back then either. Like Zach said, that was like 4 years ago. You know, that was way before I ever even started thinking about games in a critical light. Like I was still just new to the hobby and everything was like, this is a game? That's amazing. I do vaguely remember like hearing a little bit about the game and like thought it sounded interesting. I think at that point I had played Resistance Avalon, so I was familiar with hidden role games in theory, but this one was significantly different scale and execution. So I was interested and intrigued when I first went into this. So components, there's not much to talk about here.
Well, then it's also depending on what game you're playing. Like, because there's so many different versions of Werewolf in terms of like the
exact specific
exact
one.
specifics, what the cards look like. Because it's usually just cards. Sometimes they look good. Sometimes, like, you can also just play it by writing it on paper.
Yeah.
So
In fact, like, so it's kind of this is basically like a re-theme of an older game called Mafia.
yes,
And I've seen people play Mafia with just a huge deck of bicycle playing cards with the roles written on the front in Sharpie.
yes,
Like, so you really don't need much. If you know the roles and know the rules, you can play with just about anything. The copy I think of when I think of this game is Ultimate Werewolf Ultimate Edition, which is like a rectangular box. It's the one with like 64, 68 rolls, and it's got just a ton of stuff.
I think of the Ultimate Werewolf Deluxe Edition that somehow came out after Ultimate Edition.
Wasn't Ultimate like a Kickstarter?
Yes.
Okay.
But also, well, it's the Ultimate Werewolf Deluxe Edition Kickstarter, and then there was a Deluxe Edition that wasn't a Kickstarter that had less stuff.
Yeah.
And then they released a bunch of expansions that added more and more roles. It's just I feel like there's over 100 roles that you can add to them, and you can do it in any order you want. There's a whole crap ton of variability in that regard.
Zero villagers, all special characters.
Yes, it's basically the game is the people playing it. Cards are just a vessel to convey information.
Right. So, according to BGG, speaking of the many different versions of this, so I have, like I said, Ultimate Werewolf Ultimate Edition from 2008 is the one I have pulled up. That is listed as re-implementing Ultimate Werewolf White Box Edition, Werewolf, and then it is then in turn re-implemented by Ultimate Werewolf Deluxe Edition and Ultimate Werewolf Deluxe Edition for Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So the version I have is not the Kickstarter version.
And then there's still like Werewolves of Miller's Hollow, like even ones that aren't by this guy.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's just everybody was like, oh, we'll do our own werewolf that had these roles and stuff like that. It has this art. The deluxe one that I have, I really like. The art looks fine. It looks,
I like the art in all
Yeah.
of them. It's okay. It's a little goofy, but
exactly.
not too bad.
Yeah. One of them the villagers has a cool hat.
So, rules and rule explanation.
The first night when you're telling everybody what their roles do and having them do it for the first time, I feel like it takes 25% of the game.
Yeah. Especially like with bigger games, because you're going
Yes.
through and you're like, a lot of the roles, especially on that first night, are addressed individually one at a time. So and like the worst thing is the you have the moderator, and they're like, close your eyes. That's getting all into gameplay, though. Like, the biggest thing, like, that's tricky with new players is finding a way to give somebody their role and then explain their role to them without letting everybody else know what the role is.
Yeah.
So, like, at our game nights, what we usually do is somebody decides the werewolf's going to happen. They go around, figure out who's going to go play while everybody else is wrapping up their other games. And it's always like the closing game of the night.
Yeah.
But that way you can take a card over to somebody new who's playing a different game, show them their card, and be like, do you have any questions? Like it. And the versions we have, the cards tell you what they do. Like the Ultimate Edition does anyway.
Right. The Werewolves of Miller Hollow, which is the first copy I had, it was just a picture.
Yeah.
So people are like, what does this mean? And you're like, let me reference the book again real quick. And that means this looks like a werewolf, but it's like redder. Oh, you're the big bad werewolf. It looks like a werewolf, but it's like sadder. Oh, you're the lone wolf. So
and I think that was the 2008 and 2010 edition differences. They added ability text.
Yeah.
Which was...
Key.
The one guy, this whole thing, he...
I said key.
Key. I thought you said he.
No,
like,
don't be sexist. Come on, man.
It's like there was one dude that made this.
But yeah, so that's the trickiest thing, explaining it. Learning it, like, I mean...
One round and you're good.
Yeah, especially if you're not at the moderator, which, I mean, it sucked. Like, the first time we played, I think the moderator was also a new person, weren't they?
Yes. It was me, I think.
Yeah, we very much learned together.
Yeah.
Often through failure.
Yeah, very many times through failure. And then one thing that's nice is, like, in those earlier games we play with, if you're playing with a smaller amount of people, you can play more than one game. And so it's like, okay, so we're going to change out these roles. So the only ones you need to worry about are these couple new roles. So it's easy to introduce things.
Yeah.
You can do a super simple game
Of just villagers, just werewolves.
Villagers,
no
werewolf,
specials.
and one seer or something like that. And then or you can have everybody has a unique role if people are able to do that.
Yeah. But otherwise, the rules themselves aren't very hard.
No.
Some of the rules are a little weird, and you got to kind of come up with like house rules of how to handle them, like Cupid.
Yeah.
You know, which is where you pick two other players and they're now secret lovers. You know, and so like depending, like that's one of the things like you kind of learn through failure, where like the moderator, can have Cupid wake up, point to the two people, and then the moderator, like as they walk around the circle a couple times, like, oh, I'm walking around, I'm going to touch the two people, and really surreptitiously do it. You know, don't like go to touch somebody and like brush someone else's face or something.
And then also
That sounded more awkward than what I was envisioning in my brain. As what
You're
happened.
just gonna brush your face now, Jeff.
Like this doesn't mean anything. I just wanted to touch you.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their eyes closed.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you also have to tell people don't move. Like when it's night, you don't like to introduce meta information,
Yeah.
so you have to tell people in the beginning don't move, but also try like you sometimes they'll have people make noise and stuff like that.
I wanted to say all the people at Gen Con are always like stomping their feet or hitting their chairs and stuff like that during the night and things like that.
Which, I mean, like we play at a brewery, like so people are
Pretty
still
loud.
like fumbling around in the dark looking for their beer glass. Like I do that a lot. I'm like, all right, I know it's somewhere in the couple inches in front of me. I'm going to go really slow. Oh, I found it. My eyes are still closed. Don't pay attention to me. I'm not taking a drink of my beer.
Yeah. So I'd say that's about.
There's enough other movement in our group that meta is not a huge problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is. It's like, oh, I felt that person clearly.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting shoulder to shoulder, crammed in a line. I felt them lift their arm and point during the werewolf phase.
Yep. And then one last rule: don't cheat.
Yeah, don't cheat.
And unfortunately, we've had a couple instances where you can like people seem to be cheating, and it's just like, why are you even playing this game then?
Yeah, what's the point?
Yep.
So that's rules and rules explanation. Moving right on into gameplay.
Yep.
Like you were saying, that first night takes forever, especially because a lot of times you got to go through and address like people like the Cupid. They get addressed one time the whole game, and that's it. And so it's that first night, and that's true for a lot of roles.
But except things like the seer.
Yeah, there's some
like every single night.
every night. The werewolves are every night. The bodyguards every night, and then as the game goes on farther and farther,
People die.
So it just goes quicker and quicker.
Yeah. It's great when like you're a werewolf and it gets down to where it's just you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have like the debate about who to kill. You're just like, that person, that person, that person, and night phases start to go real quick.
Yeah.
I like to stall though when I'm the solo werewolf like that. Like make it seem like there's some deliberation, so people don't know that there's just one, or make it seem like there was a consensus about really murdering the shit out of somebody.
Yeah.
Overall, like you mentioned very briefly early on, Zach, like this is a game that's made by the people playing it. Like if you play with a group of people who don't give a shit and don't take it, don't play along, it gets real boring.
Well, because I know that we have we've played with people who played before with different groups, and it's like how we play was always during the day we say who gets killed, and then it's like, all right, we want nominations for people to kill, and then it's usually just the first 3 people to make nominations, those people, but then those people have a chance to defend themselves. Which other times I've heard groups just like, oh, I nominate Jeff, and then it's okay. Well, now let's vote. Do we want to kill Jeff or not? And then Jeff never has to say, what? No, I didn't. Why you want to hurt me? That hurts on the inside. That'll kill me on the inside too.
Well,
I don't
and I
want
think
that.
the
And the
rules
outside.
actually say,
Well-
like, essentially you do 1, 2, 3 point. And
Yeah.
everybody just points who they want to hang.
Yes.
And that person gets hung.
Exactly.
Or
We do-
whoever has the most.
Yeah,
gets
we
hung.
do an actual vote of people raising their hand. Moderator is counting. It was the way that we learned, and then it worked. It worked really well, and so trying to do any of the other ones, you're like, oh, this just feels weird.
Especially because we have a group that like gets into it's like every now and then you'll have somebody who's like new and they get nominated like in the first night and they haven't really seen the group play and they'll be like, my excuse is that I'm not a werewolf, and that's it. Other times you'll get like Nick L up there and he'll be like, I'm not a werewolf because clearly that person's just trying to frame me, and I think that person's a werewolf because of this, and that person's a werewolf because of this. Like it got to where we had to implement like you got like a 30-second time to defend yourself because like
There's no filibuster for a hanging.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
And then there's some other things that started happening too, just because we would play it so often. Like trends would start to develop. If we ever had the who silenced people? Sorcerer? No.
Spellcaster?
Spellcaster. If Jeff got silenced, everyone would be like, all right, well, we're going to choose Jeff because he can't defend himself.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
And then they'd be like signing and, making all these things. That was always funny. If Cupid was ever somebody who was a core member of the group, they would always nominate me or Adrian or me and Adrian, people that were known to die quickly. And so, like, a lot of times me and Adrian would open our eyes up and we're like, oh, shit, we're not going to last in this game
you
at
just
all.
both give each other a look like, well, we're fucked.
Unless one of us happens to be a werewolf, and then it's just like, I got your back, bro.
Yeah, until the village hangs one
Yeah,
of them.
exactly. Yeah.
Which, and then, like, that meta stuff can become a little bit of a problem. Like, there for a little while, like, one of the things that it became a running joke, but it also really frustrated Bob.
Yeah.
Is he would die in, like, the first 3 turns. That can get to be a problem. Or, like, whoever's got the biggest beard is going to get hung as a werewolf the first night because werewolves are beards.
Yeah. Well, I always like to use whatever, because sometimes I'd have a beard, sometimes it'd be clean shaven, sometimes I'd have a goatee. It would always be like, well, you can't trust Adrian because he has a beard. But then when I had a beard, it's like, well, you can't trust Eldar because he has a goatee. And then sometimes I do it even when I had the same one that I had. And then
Yeah. Because then people just look at you like, what?
Yeah. But yeah, your point for Bob has always been, like, if you are good at sort of seeing if people are lying, just casual things that people are saying, you're able to pick up clues. The meta of the game will usually have you die quick.
Yeah.
Because, and it was an unwritten rule of, if Bod made it past the third night,
He was a werewolf.
he's a werewolf, you should probably just kill him.
Yeah, so like he would either get devoured by werewolves in the first couple nights, or the town would all lynch him on the third day.
Yep.
Like it just was, and that got to be really unfun for Bob.
Yeah.
So like we had to kind of like sometimes you have to kind of break those meta things.
And one reason why we play this game at the end of the night was because it has player elimination. And if you're playing with 30 players, one person might not get to play the game.
Yep, the first person who's going to die that
Yeah.
night, like they don't ever even get to do anything.
Yeah, if they're just a villager and they just get killed the first night, then it sucks for them.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd be like, okay, well, that was fun. See you.
You get to go home.
And there's been times when like I'm like, oh fine, I'll play. I don't really want to, and then like I die in the first night, and I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't have to sit here for an hour. Goodbye. Just depending on kind of how the night's gone.
But I know that rubs some people the wrong way.
Yes.
That-
And in other circumstances, the player elimination would be a very big problem.
Yeah, if you're at if you're just with a bunch of group of people at, like, we've played at players' houses. If you're the first one to die, sometimes you're just like, oh well, now I just sort of sit around until everyone's done.
Yeah. Try not to be a disruptive ghost.
Yeah,
Although even then, like sometimes
that was fun. I always like being the ghost.
it can be interesting though, the player elimination, like when you get down to the last few people, like especially like if you were like a regular villager and you formulated all these ideas about who's who, well then you get to be awake for one of the night phases and you're like, no, I thought you were good and you're
Yeah.
a werewolf, or aha, vindicated. But you have to be careful not to like reveal that.
Yeah, one of the games we had, it was like 33 people were playing, and it came down to 2 villagers and 1 werewolf, and a villager and a werewolf immediately accused each other. So it was down to that third person. We watched him, like, he was talking to them, trying to figure it out, and then he eventually chose to kill the villager. And then right when that person revealed the card and the other person revealed that they were the werewolf, like everyone bursts out laughing, and you just see him crumple down. He's just like, oh God, no. It was up to me and I failed. Yeah. But yeah, I think it just comes down to the actual people that's playing.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate. We've got a great group. Like it's one of the games. Like, there's a handful of people in our group who won't play games like at game night very often. But then, like, in the nights rolling around, sure, I'll jump in on some werewolf.
Yeah,
and they just get into it. They're not there to play like serious thinky games. They're there to drink beer and
socialize,
hang people.
Yeah. Also true.
That's why I go to game night.
Yeah.
I bring a noose every week.
I think that pretty much sums up Werewolf.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on it?
I like it, but I also have grown somewhat tired of it, especially at game night.
Yeah.
Just because, like you said, if you played it enough, the meta started to get too contrived in a way.
Mm-hmm. The groupthink.
Yeah. And then also just, playing it so many times, it just felt, I just got bored. I started getting bored. Like, I still like the game, but it has to be a special circumstance in order for me to play. And also, I don't moderate it anymore. The second anniversary, I had it was like 36 players, and I moderated it. And after I was done, I was just like, never again. And I've never moderated it since. Luckily, enough people had learned it that they were able to do it, because I used to moderate all the time. And I was just like, nope, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
I actually haven't moderated in a long time. I liked moderating because I liked really getting into like telling the stories, like, all right, it's daytime. Everybody awakes and finds that Jeff is brutally eviscerated with his guts hanging from a tree, or like little things to try and set the mood. Mm-hmm. We tried to play one time. An excellent variant I've heard of is to play with tea lights.
Yeah.
And as people die, you smother the tea lights, so it just gets darker and darker. We tried to play like that one time, but it was a larger game, and the tea lights just burnt out before people were dying. And so we were like, oh, wow, that was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. Better tea lights.
Yeah, there was one variant that I played where there were no werewolves. I was the moderator, and basically I chose somebody to kill that night, and then I would whisper to them. I'd have them come up to me and I'd be like, look, there are no werewolves. You choose the next person to kill. And it was basically, they won if they figured out they weren't any werewolves. And it got down to the last 3 or 4 people, and they're like, what's going on? Why aren't there any werewolves? Why can't... And I was like, boom, you got it. Good job. And they're like, oh, it was funny, but fuck you, Zach. And the problem is, I can't spring it. It's like, you can't really spring it on somebody again.
No.
It worked best at one time, and maybe we could do it after like a couple years.
It's probably been long enough. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, and then now I have introduced that back into people's minds, and so it'll take a couple years longer.
You just need to find a whole new group.
Yep.
There's a bunch of weird people at Gen Con at about 3 in the morning.
Oh my God, if I did a 68-player game where there were no werewolves, that would be amazing, and I think I would get lynched.
So, Jeff, what are your final thoughts on Werewolf?
It's a real fun game. I like when I guess you guys used to play it all the time.
Yes.
But I have greatly enjoyed the larger games that we've played at like anniversary events and random times. It's definitely has its moments, but as we will continue on, I think the genre has evolved.
Yes.
Significantly since Werewolf.
Yeah, I'm going to keep mine pretty short and sweet. I like Werewolf. I still enjoy playing it. I do think it's nice. It kind of comes and goes. Like, it used to be hugely popular. We played it like every night for a long time, and then it kind of died out. And now it's got to be interesting, like, because our group has this core group, and we still talk about old game night memories. Like, new people will hear about all these games of Werewolf and be like, why don't you guys play Werewolf anymore? And then everybody will be like, why don't we? We should play. And then we'll play for like 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll be like, well, that was enough. But there have been other secret role type games that have kind of come about that still see a lot of playtime. So we will cover those. Real quick for this one, price and availability, it's super available. You can pick up the old Ultimate Werewolf for $8.99, the Ultimate Edition for $14.27-ish, $15 for the deluxe. Like, yeah, it's around. So,
and even if not, you can make your own.
and you can make your own
Deck of cards.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on from Werewolf, next up will be The Resistance. This is a 2009 game from designer Don Eskridge and published by Indie Boards and Cards. It plays 5 to 10 players and takes about 30 minutes. Zach, got a rules for us?
Yeah. So in the Resistance, you'll be completing secret missions while traitors attempt to infiltrate these missions and cause them to fail. Every player will receive an identity card, letting them know if they are part of the Resistance or traitors sent to cause distrust and failure. Each round, players will be chosen to complete a mission, and then everyone will vote on if they want this group to attempt it. If this vote goes through, the chosen players will secretly place a success or failure card down. If all of these cards are a success, then it is successful. Otherwise, it's a failure. If the Resistance successfully completes 3 out of 5 missions, they are the winner. Otherwise, the traitors win.
That is indeed how The Resistance is played.
Yep.
So this is another one. It's been in the group for a really long time. Do either of you have any remembrances of your thoughts going into...
I would say the first one I played was when I got the Resistance Avalon, because the first Resistance did not have roles. It just had good guy and bad guys. And Resistance Avalon actually introduced roles, sort of like Werewolf. And so that's the first one I tried. But now they have expansions that add roles to the Resistance. So basically they're the same game now. But the first time I got it was because I was like, oh, this sounds like a better version of it.
Yeah, which that Avalon game, just for everybody's edification, came out in 2012.
Yeah.
And that was the first one I played. It was probably your copy or someone else in the groups, again, way back in the early days. I don't remember anything about my thoughts going into early games of that. Jeff, do you?
I had this game before I ever played Werewolf. I remember it being super popular. It was hard because it had a minimum of 5 players, and it was hard getting that 5 players together. But when we did, it had a lot of fun going into it, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good intro game, I thought, for people that I wanted to make play more board games.
Yes.
Right on. So components?
The card art looks nice. The board art looks nice. The tokens are clear on what they do. The cards are clear on what they do. It's all fine. Mm-hmm. And they get across what they need to get across. The good guys are blue. The bad guys are red. Yeah.
Those are colors.
Yeah.
Yep.
The good cards are blue. The bad the success cards are blue. The failure cards are red. And they even show on there that the good cards can be played by good guys and bad guys, but the failure cards can only be played by the failure guys or by the traitors.
Correct.
Failure guys.
Yeah, so it's another one of these. All these games, they're mostly cards. Mm-hmm. They do have player boards for different player counts that kind of cover.
Yeah, they change the amount. When you're playing with 6 players, you have a different setup than if you're playing with 10 players.
Yeah,
you need more successes with more players, but less players. It's easier. It can be easier to find out who the bad guys are.
Yeah.
So.
It is very modular in its difficulty. Well, player count.
Yeah.
Rules, pretty simple. You essentially, each round, there's somebody who's designated like the team leader. Mm-hmm. They nominate who's going to be on the team, which varies from which of the 5 mission rounds it is. Mm-hmm. And then everybody gets to vote. They have little vote tokens, yes or no, for if they approve of that team. If they approve of the team, everybody on the team gets success or fail cards. Yep. They play those cards. So it's really easy to explain. It's like, hey, this is what's going to happen. If you're a good guy, you always have to play the succeed card. Mm-hmm. If you're a bad guy, you can play a succeed, or you can play a fail, depending on what your agenda is. Sometimes you want to play a succeed so that people don't immediately suspect you, so that you can maybe come along later and screw somebody.
Yeah, because
never fail first round.
Or you do, and then the good guys are on their heels because now it's like, oh, we already lost a mission.
Yeah.
Well, never put those people back on a team again.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can eliminate a good guy as well. You know, like it's not the worst. Doing it every once in a while, but that's gameplay stuff. But yeah.
But yeah, the rules are, I mean, there's really no rules overhead to this game. It's really, really simple on that front.
One thing I did have to keep re-explaining to people over and over again, in the second edition, the little gun tokens, people think they do things. That just means you're on the mission.
Yes.
And I've always had to explain, like, no, they don't. No, it doesn't matter if you have a rocket launcher or a rifle or anything. It just means you're on the mission.
Avalon, it's just
it's like a little crown.
Yeah, it's a little crown, and it just, you're on. But yeah.
That's just one of those weird things I always ran into trying to teach the game.
Well, in most games, if there's something that has unique icons but they don't mean anything, people try and put in meaning. Like when we were teaching Skull with you use cards, you're like, yeah, but what does the 7 mean? It doesn't. It's just red. You
Yeah. So moving on to gameplay for Resistance. Similar to Werewolf, and I think a lot of these kind of hidden role social deduction games, it's going to be the group. Like, it's a party game, it's a social game. Like, you need people who can get into it.
Yeah.
I know one of the best little, like, not really house rules, but like just one of the ways we play that I think has always improved the game for us is we require whoever is the mission leader to like come up with what the mission is before they pick their team. Like, all right, so what mission are we going on? And they just wing something. Like, all right, well, we figured out that there's, this secret base. We're going to make a raid to get the secret plans. And then like just having one person start with that and then having everybody else have to keep doing it, they inevitably seem to chain off each other.
Yeah.
Every now and then somebody will just take it off in a weird direction, but a lot of times they chain. Like, all right, you succeeded. All right, well, we got the plans. Well, the plans reveal there's going to be this convoy. And then, we failed to knock over the convoy, so now we got to regroup. So we're going on a mission to get some more supplies, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And that adds to the immersion a little bit.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. So this game in the hidden identity genre, it evolved in the sense that it eliminated player elimination. And I thought that...
I am always a fan of eliminating elimination.
Yes, just killed it.
Yeah.
Eliminated it.
Yep.
In the sense that nobody's actually removed from the game.
Yeah.
You can still sometimes get into a situation where, we were talking about a little bit like, you failed the first mission. Like, chances are you're not going to get to go on any more missions if you fail the first mission as a bad guy. But you can still participate in the voting for what teams get approved, which can actually still make a big difference. Because if a team doesn't get approved, then
Auto-fail.
Then it moves. No, not auto-fail.
Well, yeah, you get a new team leader.
And they get to pick another team.
Yep.
And you get to do that 5 times. If 5 times in a row you can't agree on a team, that mission auto fails.
I thought you lose the game.
That one, it's lose the game.
Is it lose the game?
Yeah.
So that's one of the other ways the bad guys can win is if they can. So as a bad guy, you might not be getting sent on any missions, but if you can help sow some seeds of dissent and cause teams to get rejected, that's awesome. And that's what you're saying. Like, if there's 2 people on the first mission. If you're a bad guy and you play the fail, you might not go on any more missions, but the good guy that was with you might not either. And that might sow just enough dissent to keep the good guys from being able to win on their own. Yeah. They'll either have to send a bad guy or they'll disapprove a bunch of teams until they lose that way.
Yeah.
So that can be all very powerful. And even if you are eliminated from like being on a team, you'll still get to pick a team when it comes around to you as the leader. It's probably going to get auto-failed, but maybe you timed it right where you're that 5th one and you're like, well, now you have to approve my team. So have fun.
Yeah. So one thing that's also interesting is that if two bad guys are on the same team, like say as the good guy, you chose 2 bad guys. Now they're sort of in the situation of say, 2 bad guys and then 1 good guy. What if both of them? Yeah. What if both of them play? They don't. But they both do not want to play fails because that sucks. If you're the bad guy.
Well, there's clearly 2 spies on that team.
But then it's like, who does it? Some people have come up with, in my opinion, stupid rules. Of it's just like, well, if 2 spies are on the mission, it should always be the person closest to the left of the person who chose the team. Like, it had arbitrary rules to make sure that 2 bad guys didn't accidentally throw. And I'm like, no, that's their fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that things like that are I mean, like any of these types of games with social aspects, you're going to get kind of a social meta going in your group or a group think. Like you play with a certain group that has certain experiences that lead them to think along certain lines.
Yeah.
And so that, I don't agree with like coming up with something like that beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, but like if in the middle of the mission, like you somehow can come to an understanding without giving yourself
yeah.
away,
That-
that's awesome.
that-
and that's part of how the game should work.
Definitely.
But I mean, like that's one of those
Something
like,
that's pre-agreed upon beforehand is just no. That's not in the spirit of the game, in my opinion.
I agree. Things like that need to kind of come naturally during gameplay and from gameplay.
I do also have to say the little voting chips that you use are way better than cards.
Yeah, because it's yay or nay.
Yep.
They're both the same back, and so you just put one up, and then everyone reveals. The nays are usually black, and the
Black
yays
X.
are and then the other ones are yellow,
White
white.
check.
Yeah, white checks. So it's easy enough to see. It's like, oh, that is a sea of black X's.
Yeah. Which it's always interesting, like when you either like, especially towards the late game when it might be like, 2-2, and it's the final mission, and a team gets called, and there's unanimous yeses. It's like, well, there's probably a traitor on this team, and we're probably going to lose.
And this game definitely plays different with different amount of people that are playing. So 9 players, you have 6 good guys and 3 bad guys.
6 and 3.
6 and 3, and then if you have 10 players, that goes to 6 and 4.
Yes.
And so 6 and 3 is a lot harder as a bad guy than 6 and 4.
Yeah.
But then also with even players, like so when you're doing a vote, it has to be an actual majority.
Right.
So it's sort of harder for good guys too, in the sense of you need all 6 people, all 6 good guys to agree on this one to go through. Otherwise, it doesn't.
Right.
And I think that I'm glad that they have that sort of different aspect to them.
Yeah, so that's something like if you are playing this in your group and you're finding that, bad guys are super regularly winning, try adding or subtracting a player, however you can make that work. I mean, sometimes that's not an option. Like, if we were playing here at the house and we have 5 people, we're playing a 5-player game. We can't be like, oh, sorry, Zach, you don't get to play because it's going to be better balanced with 4 players.
Well, I mean, it also doesn't play with 4 players, but I know. I get what you're saying, yes.
And vice versa, you can't be like, oh, well, we're at mythical player who's not here. But like if you're playing at a game night where there's multiple people, and you try and pick the number that's going to work best for how your group has done in the past, I guess, or what kind of experience you want, if you want it to be tilted one way or the other.
Well, and then this also has, like I said, Avalon has this, and then there's an expansion for the second edition of this game that added roles. And there are roles that help good guys, there are roles that help bad guys. Like there is, Merlin, who gets to see who the bad guys are, and he's on the good team. But that would just be overpowered by itself, because then it'd be like everyone wakes up and you're like, I am Merlin, and you 2 are bad guys. Game over.
But one of those bad guys, if you're playing with Merlin, is an assassin.
Yes.
And then even if the good guys win, the spies can say, like, you are Merlin, the spies will still win.
Yeah. So basically, when you're playing with Merlin and the assassin, once the missions are over, nobody reveals yet. Basically, you're like, all right, bad guys, all reveal yourselves, and they all reveal. And you're like, all right, assassin, who's Merlin? And they can kind of deliberate for a second, but ultimately the assassin picks. It's not majority.
Nope.
It's who the assassin wants to assassinate. And yeah, if they get Merlin, great job.
I find that much more interesting than the base game.
There are roles that there's a bad guy who has no idea who the other bad guys are. And so that's to help
Hitler, you would say?
Yeah. That's to help the good guys out.
Right.
There's also a bad guy who Merlin does not know is a bad guy. That really helps the good guy or the bad guys out.
Yeah. And then there's a bad guy who can see Merlin, but that one you play with where there's another good guy who appears as Merlin. So
No, it's that there's
like
a
a
good
good
guy
guy
that knows who Merlin is.
that's right.
But then there's a
bad guy who appears as Merlin. So
it's a bad guy who appears as it's a bad guy that appears as Merlin. So that good guy knows that one of those 2 is Merlin.
and one of the 2 is
a bad guy.
Is a super bad guy.
Yeah.
Super bad.
Yeah.
It can start to get a little complicated. And then there's also like the plot thickens cards.
Yeah, like little
I've
mission.
almost never played with those.
I have never played with those.
I did it once, and it can be like I don't know. It added a little too much for me.
Yeah.
They work fine if you don't have the roles, but the roles are better. So you want to play with the roles, but then if you have the roles, you don't really want to play with them.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think like the roles are where this game shines. If you add those on top of it, then you're basically fixing something that isn't broken, and that very rarely works out.
Yeah.
So much like you, Zach, like my first time playing this was playing Avalon, so my bar was set with that. Like I remember, like I played Avalon for a while with all the rolls and everything, and then at one point somebody was like, "Hey, you want to play Resistance?" I was like, "Oh, sure." Like, you know, how's it different from Avalon? Like, oh, it basically plays the same. And then they dealt out and everything got started, and like at this point I'm committed, and then I realized that there were no rolls, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
No.
And then the expansion basically just added the stuff they added in Avalon into regular Resistance.
And now
so they're pretty much the same game now, right?
And now the new editions of Resistance include all the roles. Like,
Yeah.
there was enough feedback. Like, when they did Avalon, enough people were like, holy shit, this is awesome.
I want to say
I don't even think Avalon is around anymore.
I mean, you can
I
still
don't know.
buy it. Like, it's
Yeah.
available. I don't know if it's still being printed.
this was indie boards and cards like
Way back.
yeah, well, and then like
It's what
a
they
lot
were-
of Kickstarter were all of these.
Yes.
And
I would definitely say this is probably one of their biggest games.
yeah, and I think I got my version of Resistance through Kickstarter, which had those rolls in it.
Yeah, and then there's also a Kickstarter exclusive role too. It's like a good guy that can like switch to a bad guy or something like that.
I probably have that.
yeah, I think I have that too.
And we should also mention real quickly, this is all kind of their same dystopian universe.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've ever played Coup and things like that, a lot of the same symbols have carried over between the games. The Imperials and the Resistance symbols kind of are in both.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So, final thoughts?
I like this one better than Werewolf. It felt like it had more replayability. It felt shorter. It felt like a game I could play in the middle of game night or the start while you're waiting for more people. It's not one that we just relegated to the end.
But like, yeah, played at the beginning. Like, hey, you're new. Want to play this game?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it can, it plays quick enough where you can be like, all right, we'll play a 4-player game. And then like, oh, this is done. Well, now there's 2 new people. Well, let's play a 6-player game. For me, I wouldn't say I don't think it's better or worse than Werewolf or anything like that. Like, they are different enough. There's places for both of them. I would play Resistance probably more often these days than Werewolf, mostly because I think Werewolf is best with like probably between 10 and 15 people.
Yeah.
And that can be tricky to tack down. And then lately, just the way game nights are and with everything else I have going on, I don't want to stay late enough to stick around for a game of Werewolf, especially because Werewolf can drag, whereas this typically goes by pretty quick.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you there that Werewolf has, after more than 10 players, definitely Werewolf, but under 10 or under, I would rather choose this one over Werewolf.
Okay. So Jeff, you got any final thoughts on it?
This is when I started getting into board games, this is one of the games I originally got. I still greatly enjoy it, but Rolls, I greatly enjoy it much more. They've added a couple expansions that I've never really bothered with because the base game itself is always so good that I don't really need any of that.
Cost and availability for these, they are all well available.
Evergreen, one would say.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't see indie boards, really ever not printing this. Resistance itself is running for about $13 on pretty much all of the websites that currently have it in stock. Avalon is same thing, $13 to $14 at all of the places. You can get it for $10 at Board Game Co.
Because why not?
Because why not? And then if you happen to get an older version of Resistance that doesn't have the expansions, you can do The Plot Thickens, which, like we said, those cards, take it or leave it, but that's running for about $7 or $8. And then Hidden Agenda, which adds the rolls and is huge. That one is about $7. So
Cheap games. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely worth the price, I think. So, all right, well, that wraps up Resistance. Moving along to the third and final game in this series.
Last but not least.
Not necessarily. And the newest game for sure, Secret Hitler. Secret Hitler is a 2016 release from designers Mike Boxletier, Tommy Moranges, and Max Temkin. It was published by Goat, Wolf, and Cabbage, which mainly I know of it as coming out through like the Cards Against Humanity people.
Basically.
Which I don't know if that's who Goat, Wolf, Cabbage is.
They are not, but Max Temkin is one of the main creators behind Cards. So
Gotcha. It plays 5 to 10 players, takes about 45 minutes, and that's that. So Zach, you got a game overview for us?
Yeah. So in Secret Hitler, you are navigating the political scene of 1930s Germany, trying to stop Hitler and the fascists from gaining power. Every player will receive a set of identity cards, placing them on either the liberal side or the fascist side, and if they're in the fascist party, if they're Hitler. Each round, the president will choose someone to become the chancellor and help enact a policy. Players will then vote on whether they approve of this appointment. If it passes, the president will grab 3 policies, discard one, and hand 2 to the chancellor, who will then choose one to enact. If the liberals enact 5 liberal policies or kill Hitler, they win. But if the fascists enact 6 fascist policies or enact 3 fascist policies and confirm Hitler as chancellor, they win.
That's Secret Hitler.
Yes, it is.
Probably the simplest of all 3 of these games overall.
I disagree.
Maybe in the sense of what you can add to the game.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
It's a game in a box.
This is a game in a box. It's a game in a very nice box, depending on what edition you have.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts going into Secret Hitler? It's a much more recent game. Do you remember more of your thoughts going into this one?
I really liked, or I still do, but I really liked Hidden Identity games at this time. I wasn't interested in getting in on the Kickstarter, but I did want to play the game when I think somebody first did a print and play of it, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll try this out because I like these type of games, so hopefully I will like this one as well.
I did the Kickstarter. I like and still like Secret Identity games, and this one seemed to be a very good version of it. I am super happy that I did the Kickstarter for it.
Cool. I remember playing this game again with Cody during when he had the print and play. I didn't know enough about it going into it to really have any thoughts. I knew it was another hidden role game, and I kept hearing people like, "Oh, it's kind of like Resistance," and I enjoyed Resistance, so I was like, "All right, yeah, sure, let's give it a shot." So I played it a couple times there, and then eventually saw the nicer production copies and played them, and yeah, I don't know, never really had any particularly like, "Holy crap, I'm really excited," or like, "I'm not sure about this." It was like, "Well, it's like Resistance, sure, let's give it a shot." I like Resistance. Components.
The pinnacle of Secret Identity games, in my opinion.
It definitely looks the best.
It, yes, is the prettiest.
So obviously, I want to give some context first. We all know that it was Nazis, not like fascists in 1930s, and they weren't lizard people. But it's because in Germany you can't sell a game that references or it has depictions of Nazis.
Swastikas.
Yeah, swastikas.
And, yeah.
So they decided they had to switch it in order to actually be able to sell it there, since, as we know, Germany is a big board gaming country.
Yes.
So
As we just talked about Spiel for quite a few minutes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's the reason why it's fascist instead of Nazis, and etc.
Yes.
And I don't think that hurts the game at all.
No.
No.
Because I can still tell you you're a fascist asshole.
Fascist pig, yeah.
I mean, most people would still agree that fascism is not a good thing.
Yes. But you still needed Hitler. So they're like, well, we still got to
It's a Hitler.
Yes.
It looks a lot like an iguana person.
Yep.
Which I'm surprised that that was something that flew by. Like, that was allowed.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't think having fascists hurts the game. I think the name of the game being Secret Hitler probably turned some people
Yes.
off.
I've known some people who were like, my grandparents were, etc. So it's
This came from Max Temkin. One of the Cards Against Humanity people. So I don't think they shy away from that kind of.
No, yeah.
I mean, I think that, like you said, the reason it's not Nazis and clearly Nazis is just because they want to sell more copies. It has nothing to do with them sparing anybody's sensitivities.
No. So obviously, if you have a problem with that, then that sucks. But yeah. So
Yeah. The Kickstarter definitely upgraded all the components. You have little plaques for the president and the chancellor that have the rules of your role on them.
They
so
look
if you ever
really nice,
are really
too.
drunk and confused, you can just read them at any time. The envelopes that you keep your secret identities in are little nice, fantastic little envelopes. The player boards in the Kickstarter, they were like, hey, do we want a smaller box and fold, or do you just want it all in one big nice piece? And they're like, nice piece. It's got gold foil on it.
they do indeed look really nice.
Yeah. And then all the actual policies themselves are nice,
They're thick
cardboard
and stuff like that. Yeah.
The only flaw is if people lose any pieces to your copy.
Yeah. Did you contact them to try and get another piece?
No.
Which
no,
one's
no,
missing
they
for you?
didn't. Or
No, I
you-
have not contacted them.
Which one was missing from you?
A liberal policy.
Yeah,
Oh, you were missing an actual policy.
he was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that sucks.
Yep. Womp womp.
Womp womp, indeed.
So, rules and rules explanation. I've never had to teach this game, so I have nothing to say.
I have. You need a little bit of setup because you have 10 envelopes, and then in each envelope will be a party card and your votes and your role. So your party card can be liberal or fascist, because at some point in the game, we'll get to that, whatever. You just need to tell people to be very careful at what they're looking at so they don't show anyone else what you are, because your hidden identity will be always hidden. No one else will ever see that. Only people will ever see your
Party membership.
Party membership, yep. And then you'll have your yeah and nine voting cards. You'll get handed, some policies. You have to. Some people don't like this. I do like this, where it's like you have to be stone faced. Like if you get handed 3 cards, like you can't be like chuckle or laugh or you just choose. You discard 1. You hand 2 to the other person. They discard 1, and then they play the other.
Yep.
And then after that,
they can be
you have discussion about what bullshit that other person did to you.
Yes. You can be like, oh, yeah, they gave me a choice, or they didn't. Obviously, you can lie about either, or I gave them a choice, or I couldn't give them a choice, and you can lie about that, too. But during the actual thing, you can't show anything on your face.
Yeah.
And that's just, another one of those rules that's there it prevents some of that meta from coming in.
Exactly.
Like, it's easier to be like, oh, yeah, it was all bullshit when you react visibly as if it were all bullshit.
Yeah. If you're just like, and then hand them to Jeff.
And then Jeff's like, and
Yeah.
then plays a fascist card.
Yeah.
Now then again, if you were really good actors, you might just act that out.
Yeah.
But it's better not to bring that part into just that instance.
I agree.
Yeah, but it usually only takes about one playthrough or one turn to be like, we all vote, and then play continues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then one thing you kind of have to emphasize is like there's way more fascist policies than there are liberal policies. So some people aren't going to have a choice.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I emphasize.
So, yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, the rules are pretty straightforward.
And then what some of the board means, because as you implement more fascist policies, the president might get a special power that turn to shoot Bob in the face.
Or for Bob to shoot Paul in the face because Paul beat him at Carcassonne in the game before.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, shenanigans like that do still happen.
Well, that's game night for you.
But anyway, actual gameplay.
So this one sort of evolved the genre yet again, because in Resistance, good guys can only play good guy cards. Now you get a choice. Sometimes you don't get a choice if you just handed both fascist cards. But you can sometimes be like, yes, I'm a good guy and I want to play this liberal one, but I'm pretty sure that Jeff is Hitler, so I'm going to fail it so that I can shoot Jeff in the face. And then if he's Hitler, it's yay, killed Hitler. Other times it's like, oh no, I messed up horribly, but you get that choice.
Yeah.
So the liberal policy board is like clear. You only have to play 5, but then at the end of the 5 you win.
Yeah.
But the fascist one is filled with powers that the president gets as you play fascist policies. So you can thin down who you think is what. You can look at other players' party cards to know if they're fascist or if they're liberal, or if you are a fascist looking at another fascist's party card, be like, oh, they're totally liberal, and to just lie your face off.
Yeah.
And that's the great part about this game is getting, I think the trust in this game is far more than a lot of others.
I can see that, yeah.
No.
I think that this one takes what was largely perfected in Resistance. Like I said, like Resistance for me, like we were talking about the other cards that you can add to that, and if it's not broke, why fix it? And I think this tried to fix a problem that wasn't there, and consequently for me, it's always felt just much more convoluted, and like, I don't know. It did not ever sit well with me. So I think that like with the gameplay side of things, like to expound on that a little bit more, that
would be nice, yeah.
It's hard,
Well, let me just shit over all of your arguments.
It's hard for me to like the simplest way I can put it is like I think that this type of game, for what I enjoy and what I get out of these games, this one, it complicates things too much with like the drawing cards and then passing them. Like it adds in some decision making, which is nice because in Resistance, if you're a good guy, you play a good guy card. Whoop-de-doo. It adds in some of that decision making, but I think that ultimately, like, rather than leading to more trust in my experiences with this game, it seems like everybody just bickers more. And there's less consensus. There's less ability to actually have any idea who's actually anything. I've seen too many games end because, like, Bob shoots Paul in the face because of a previous game and Paul happens to be Hitler. And so, oh, hey, we won because we killed Hitler. Not because anybody knew who the fuck Hitler was, just because Bob decided to shoot Paul in the face and got lucky.
Sometimes you just shoot wildly into the air, and
It's true,
sometimes
yeah.
that bullet lands in Hitler.
Yeah.
So I feel like although you have more decisions as a player, you have less ability to know anything as a player. And I don't enjoy that in a game where I'm trying to figure out who's who. I like to be able to have more concrete information to go on rather than just take people's words for it. Maybe it's because I don't trust human beings.
I definitely know you don't.
I don't trust people.
Yeah.
And I dislike randomness.
Yes.
And this adds more of both of those.
I don't know. Like for me,
less trust.
if
more
if I get a good card and a bad card and I give it to somebody and I see they play a bad card and I know for a fact they're a bad person.
good luck convincing anyone.
Well, you know what? The game's about all these games are about convincing people. So
This one definitely has more talk in it
Yes.
than others.
yes,
AKA bickering.
Yeah,
yeah,
which is
it's-
fine.
Yeah, that's enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
That's
Zach, you enjoy bickering.
I know. That's why I liked New Angeles so much, is because it's just like 4.5 hours of you shut the fuck up. I'm talking right now.
No, you're the Federalist.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jared has tried to convince me on multiple times that I would actually enjoy New Angeles, and I don't think he understands the games I enjoy.
And so I've played a lot of those other games, and then I've played this one, and then I think this one adds a little bit more gaminess into that, like what you mentioned before. Resistance was like vote, and then you're a good guy and you play a good card, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I like more in this one where there's like the fascist powers, where you can confirm whoever is the president can confirm who a certain role is. You can give the president, current president can then give anyone else the president for one turn, and then it'll go back in a turn order. And then the last two are just to shoot people.
I will say, I do think, from a gameplay perspective, the fascist powers are actually for me, they're the most interesting thing, and they're the one, like, redeeming factor of this game. I do think that's cool, especially because it does incentivize, like you were talking about, Zach, like, I'm a good guy president, but I get to shoot somebody in the face if this mission fails. And because there are so many more options for the bad guys to fail without ending the game, unlike so Resistance, the bad guys win 3, that's more than 50%, game's over. This one, like, you can let the bad guys win 5 of them, and the good guys only need, they're, 5, right? Yeah.
5 and 6.
So you can let them win a lot more just to get access to some of those powers, which can then hopefully make it easier for you to ultimately win. I don't know.
But then it also adds a nice little, in my opinion at least, once 3 fascist policies have been enacted, it's every time someone gets elected chancellor, you're always just like, are you Hitler? Did the bad guys just win? And they're like, no. And you're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, because all you have to, whoever's elected chancellor, you ask them, are you Hitler? And they will be like, no.
Yeah. But then it's all, this game also, this game definitely is, it is a lot harder to trust people because Hitler would want to just play as super good because then they want to become chancellor after the fascist ones.
And one thing we didn't mention is that Hitler doesn't know who the other fascists are.
That's correct,
Like
yes.
all the fascists know who the fascists are. All the fascists know who Hitler is. Hitler knows who no one else is. Hitler,
all they know is that they're Hitler.
yes, they know they're Hitler, but they don't know who their allies are or who their enemies are. And I think that's interesting.
Yes.
Because if you play as Hitler, you just kind of have to play good, really, until the fascists give you the chancellor.
Which I think is, for me, it's the opposite. Like, that goes back to the one problem with Resistance, where you don't, like, if you're Hitler, like, good luck, you don't get to know anything.
Oberon was basically the same.
Oberon's my least
He
favorite
was
character in
by
Resistance.
far my favorite character to play. If you're like, oh shit, I'm the wild card. I would
Cut the
always.
brakes.
The
Yeah.
difference there is, nobody knew who. Well,
No.
Merlin.
No, the bad guys knew who Oberon were.
They did?
Yeah, he just didn't know who anybody was. So they knew him, but then it's just like for Oberon, I would always be like, I don't give a shit. I am always throwing fails out. Boom, boom, boom. So it was nice that Hitler played differently. But yeah.
Hitler could be elected president,
Yes.
but that doesn't win.
No, it's the chancellor. So,
Yeah.
and I like that we've had the best outcome in a game where Hitler
God.
gave the chancellor a liberal policy to let them win the game, to let the liberals win the game.
So the liberals had 4 liberal policies out. The fascists had 0. The next president was Hitler, who then gave the chancellor a choice of winning the game or playing a fascist policy.
Yeah.
And he gave him a liberal policy. He should have just given him 2 fascist ones and he was like, I needed to know if I could trust him. Well, if you couldn't trust him, you lose. So
And then there was also the worst one where everybody unanimously elected Hitler as chancellor after the third fascist
this
policy.
is our 1934 nightmare.
Yeah. It was just 100 yeses, and then they're just like, oh, well, I'm Hitler, so thanks. Tips the hat.
Yeah.
And moonwalks away.
Yes. A little known fact, Hitler created the moonwalk.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. So that kind of sums up gameplay, and probably you have an idea on our final thoughts for this game. But
Yeah.
let's talk about our final thoughts.
You start first, Adrian.
Fine,
Yes.
I'll start first. I don't like this game. I have turned this game down 10 times in a row, at least. I turn it down probably at least once a week. And I feel like every time it's somebody different, and I'm like, no, I do not like that game. I do not want to play. So yeah, I haven't played this game in a while. I have it rated I think a 4 on,
Ugh.
because 5 is like take it or leave it. This one's a leave it. I do not care to play. You would have to very strongly convince me to get me to sit down and play this particular hidden role game. Like I said, it's just never struck a chord. Although I'm not like super turned off by the Hitler theme, it's also pretty far from a positive for me. I think they could have found something else to skin this game in and then just avoid that entirely.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Cards Against Humanity people. Like their whole game is like, oh, let's be offensive. And it's gotten to the point and some of this is because I know they're the Cards Against Humanity people, and I feel increasingly like that's just incredibly immature and childish humor that I don't go in for as much anymore. I mean, I did, but I grew up.
I feel like that shouldn't be a feeling. That should be a known fact. That it's immature and childless. It's just whether or not you like that or not. So,
Which I increasingly dislike immature and childish, because I'm
I don't know why you still hang out with us then.
turning into an adult or something.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Hey Jeff, taxes.
It's not even so much like because immature and childish in and of itself doesn't bother me. It's the offensive for no other reason to be like, oh, look how edgy and offensive we are. Like that's how all of that comes across to me nowadays. Like, oh yeah, we're not politically correct. We have jokes that are offensive and we're trying to be offensive, but oh, don't get offended because that's the joke. And it's just like, meh. And I feel like they could have made this into something else that wasn't Hitler and it would have been fine. But it's them, and I think they wanted to make a game about being Hitler. I don't know. Not a fan.
Well, now that Adrian's preconceived notions are out of the way, Zach and I can talk about how awesome this game is.
Kickback.
I enjoy that it's 1930s Hitler, and not like World War II Hitler. It's sort of, you can look at this game as sort of a rise to power-esque game, and not so much looking at what he did after as why you're looking down on the theme, because not a lot of people know about the 30s Hitler and Nazism stuff. I'm sure there are many people out there, but point being, that's not any real... I find it more funny that I get to shoot Hitler in the face than I do oh, it's Hitler. I find it funny.
Right.
Besides that, and them being lizard people, I really, really, really enjoy the mechanics behind this game and how there's way more fascist policies than liberal policies. Sometimes you get totally screwed. It's like, I know you're liberal, and I know I am, and we're boned because all I got were 3 fascist policies, and that's all you have to play. And then those powers on top of that definitely help. And then the bickering in between. And sometimes you'll know someone's a fascist and no one will believe you. And all you do is beg to be president so you can play a fascist policy, so you can shoot Bob in the face.
Yep.
And then Bob's Hitler.
For me, I definitely...
I also like yelling "ya" and 9.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
So for me, I've definitely played the Resistance more, and in the future I might still play that more, but I think I enjoy Secret Hitler more. My only real problem with the theme is when like there have been people that will like, and I've seen this on Reddit, they'll be complaining about people who would like, do Nazi salutes when they're playing the game and stuff like that, and it's just like
It's a little too far.
yeah, that is a lot too far.
Yeah.
Yes, it is about Hitler and stuff, but you don't drunkenly do some stupid crap like that.
Yeah.
So you can easily take it too far, but the game in and of itself is not over the line or anything for me.
There is nothing in the rules that says you have to do a Nazi salute.
Yes.
Please don't.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, I like that it is a more gamier version of like the Resistance, that it gives you a choice. I just felt that there were more interesting decisions in this one.
There's definitely more interesting conversations.
Yes, and I was saying earlier, I love games where you just yell at you're just arguing with people, and this game is definitely good at that.
There was a game at Strange where I was shockingly drunk for once.
Shockingly,
I've never drunk it.
That I was screaming about how we needed to shoot Bob in the face.
Yeah.
I remember that. I wasn't playing, but I remember that.
I don't remember who shot Bob in the face, but
Was it you?
I don't know if it was.
No, because you were telling somebody, "Dear
Like,
God, for
shoot
the love of all
Bob
that's
in the face." It's like that,
Shoot,
it's like that Velociraptor scene.
good." Yeah,
Just shoot.
Shooter. Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Well, like Velociraptors, lizard people, Nazis.
yep.
right on. So, any final compare contrast that you want to do for all three of them? Werewolf, Resistance, and Secret Hitler.
I would rank them Secret Hitler, Resistance, Werewolf.
Jeff, same.
Secret Hitler, Resistance, Werewolf.
Resistance, Werewolf, Secret Hitler. I think, and for me, like ratings wise, like if I was to rate them on an actual scale, Secret or Werewolf and Resistance would be pretty much the same. Like I said, I get different things out of them. I look for them in different situations, but I enjoy both of them. Secret Hitler is not at the same level on that scale.
Okay.
Well, if you like good opinions, Zach and I love Secret Hitler.
Yeah.
I just like shooting fascists as I
Yeah.
play as the liberals, and I also like just the.
If that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Yeah, and then when I'm a fascist, I feel like a piece of shit, and I just want to hide and be like, please don't find out that I'm a fascist until I elect Hitler chancellor.
So yeah, Jeff, no emails for this.
No emails. If you would like to have an email on the show, there are emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Zach, there was, I believe, at least one post on the BGG thread.
Yes, there was. So this was from Jay. Ultimate Werewolf has fallen flat when I've tried it. I think you almost need a group of gamers playing so they know how to interact with each other, or I may not have taught it correctly. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, gamers be gaming.
I would say Werewolf is the one that is most affected by the group you're playing with because it has the least amount of rules in that regard.
They're like, you're a villager. I don't know, hang people.
Yeah.
Or die.
The Resistance is similar. It seems to either be a big hit with everyone getting into it and calling each other spies, etc., or it falls flat with people not interacting. I think this game also depends on the group. The people in this group have to be willing to talk and socialize and engage in the game. I think that's
Kind of all of these.
Yeah, that's all of these. It is.
But I've had some bad Resistance players.
Yeah, that's why this is like the social hidden identity games where like social is a big part of it.
Yeah.
It's not like Battlestar where there are hidden identities, but you have there's a big game in there too.
There's a big game in there.
This one is it's the hidden identities, and that's basically it. So, for me, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong is really good for social deduction. With the cards played in front of each player, it gives you a track to run on and pushes the players to interact with each other. I find it much easier to teach than the Resistance. Have you guys tried it? I have not. I wanted to try it at Geekway, but I just kept forgetting. I'd be like, oh yeah, I need to try it. And then I didn't. So,
and
no.
Then you didn't.
Yes. People keep bringing it to game night, so I definitely want to try it out at some point.
Yeah, same boat.
I have Secret Hitler, but have not yet played it. Looking forward to it.
Should play it.
Yeah. Continue to look forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm not paying attention. I've played Murder in Hong Kong twice.
Okay.
Deception, colon.
Yes, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. I've played it twice. Yeah, sorry, I had something else on my mind.
Your hatred of Secret Hitler?
No, other shenanigans. While you guys were gushing about Secret Hitler, I was looking for copies of Indonesia, and I came across some shenanigans online that made me really mad. For Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, I do like that a decent amount. I want to play it some more. I have not done very well either of the times I've played it. It plays a bit differently. So it's like if you took one of these hidden role games and crossed it with Mysterium.
That's what I've heard, that it replaced Mysterium for a lot of players.
Which I could see. Mysterium's a little bit, I don't want to say heavier, because that's not the right word.
Lighter?
No.
Thinkier?
No, because those are all synonyms for heavier in my book. It's
Bluer.
It's like Lisboa.
slower.
Okay.
Well, I think it definitely takes longer to play, and there's more in Mysterium that can get in the way of the
More streamlined?
yeah.
Deception's about 20 minutes. So.
Yeah. So essentially, in both games,
Shorter.
In both games, you still have a. But it's more than just the shorter.
Okay.
It's the way the game works. So in both games, let me explain.
You deserve all of this for not liking Secret Hitler, is what I'm trying to say.
In both games, you have a host person in Deception, moderator-esque person.
Yeah.
In Deception, it's the secret investigator or the head investigator or the
Forensic
scientist,
scientist.
I believe. And it's the ghost in Mysterium. And in both cases, they are giving clues to the other players, trying to get them to figure out what's going on. So the difference is in Mysterium, it's competitive but cooperative. There's not an actual bad guy. You're not trying to out a specific person. You're just trying to advance through all these different layers, and you're trying to figure out the first tier of cards, which is the weapon, and then the next tier of cards, which is the location and the person and all of that. And it's simpler. The Deception is simpler than Mysterium. So it's not necessarily that Mysterium's heavier. It's not that Deception's shorter. It's simpler. The difference is that this actually does have a bad guy. One thing that I think is really cool about that is the bad guy wakes up, then shows the forensic scientist your means card and your scene card that are going to represent where and how you did the murder, but you get to look around and see what other means and scene cards everybody else has. So you can try and pick some that apply to a lot of different people to kind of stay hidden. Don't screw up and accidentally pick the axe for your means when no one else has anything that's even remotely weapon-like, because that'll make it really easy for the investigator to give you away. So it is a little bit more streamlined. I kind of dislike the more direct way that everybody's looking for a bad guy and one person clearly knows who the bad guy is and is just trying to communicate that. Because I think that in my experiences with it, at least, it seems like it's really easy for the investigator to figure out, unless you have a bad investigator, which I've also seen, but then that just also sucks. And that Mysterium has that same problem. You can have a really bad ghost and they just give really shitty clues and nobody knows what the hell's going on.
A bad forensic scientist is what you mean.
I keep saying investigator.
Investigator is who you are trying to figure it out.
Yeah. The forensic scientist and the ghost in Mysterium. Basically the same role. But I do like Deception. I would like to play it more to kind of see how that evolves.
I would like to try it.
No.
Did we had anything from Twitter? Or?
Not about this, I don't think, right?
No, nothing really from any of that stuff. So
Okay.
To wrap up, however, our hidden role social deduction game, we're going to play a social deduction kind of game thing. I don't know how much actual deduction there is in this game, but we're going to play a game over the air here. I first heard about this on Shut Up and Sit Down.
Because they did it on
Because they
did it on air.
also did it on air. And
We're just copycatting.
so
them.
we
Yes.
are
Okay.
shamelessly ripping off Shut Up and Sit Down.
I have no idea what this is.
It is win, lose, and banana.
Win, lose, or banana?
Win, lose, or banana.
Okay.
All right, so there are 3 roles. Mm-hmm. The win, lose, and banana.
Okay.
If you get the win, congratulations, you can win. And how you win is you just find the other person who has banana. If you guys find each other, you guys win. But if someone else has the lose, you've lost. Unless you can make the person who won choose you as the person who is the banana, in which case just you win.
So the banana wants to be chosen.
Yeah, as does the loser.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if the winner chooses the loser, only the loser wins.
Yeah.
And so how does the winner win?
by choosing the banana.
But the banana wants to get chosen.
Yes.
the winner.
So the winner and the banana can win,
Yes.
Yes.
Or the loser wins.
or the
Yes.
loser wins.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what we've done, and this is my favorite thing about this game, it's really easy to play if you want to play for yourselves. You just take 3 identical scraps of paper,
Yep.
like as close as possible, and you write win, lose, and banana
Yep.
on those 3 scraps. You do what Zach did. You've balled them up into tiny little balls, and you're going to hand them to each player, and we are going to secretly unfold them where the other players cannot see what you have. Because don't look over here, because this is the sound of unfolding.
I've never heard that before.
All right. Who won?
I don't know.
Are you the winner, Jeff?
No.
So the winner has
I'm
to
the
now.
winner.
You're the winner, Adrian?
I'm the winner. I was waiting for Jeff to be fully ready.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm the winner.
Okay.
So who's the banana?
Oh, you know it's me, Adrian.
And you know that he's lying to you as he does every day.
Adrian, you choose me. We both win.
I 100% don't believe you for a second, Zach. Jeff, I choose you.
You
Absolutely.
fucking asshole. Ah! I was the banana.
I win.
You did a terrible job, Zach.
I am lose.
You said that in the absolute worst.
Because I was hoping you would believe me in your heart.
And
So you sabotaged me intentionally.
No.
And I played deep into Adrian's mistrust
Yes.
of Zach
Yep.
to choose lose.
Just about perfect.
All right.
All right,
So,
hand it back over here. We're gonna. I'll do them this time.
all right.
We'll do. I don't know, a couple rounds of
Yeah.
it real quick. It plays, as you could tell, dear listener, it plays quick.
Yeah.
So we can get
The
these all-
deep mistrust of Zach was.
Well, it didn't
played.
help that Zach said it, like I said, in the least trusting voice possible.
That's just his voice.
That's just my voice.
No.
Yeah.
And the look you gave me basically screamed, "Do not pick me."
That's once again. I was just looking at you, Adrian.
and really, it's just that Zach wants you to fail.
I mean, you're not
All right.
wrong.
All right, who's the winner?
I am the winner.
Jeff, don't fuck up like Adrian does. Choose me. I'm the banana.
Okay, Adrian, why is Zach not the banana?
Well, because Zach was clearly the banana last time. And also, don't ever trust fucking Zach.
I mean, I trust Zach more than I trust you.
Yeah.
All right.
After
well,
your
fine.
opinions on Secret
Yeah.
Hitler, how am I supposed to believe anything you've
I'm
ever said?
Secret Hitler. I am the banana.
Zach.
I am the banana.
Hooray!
I fucking hate you guys. All right, Jeff, you mix them up this time. I already hate this stupid game.
All right, we'll do one last one.
Unless I don't win, in which case we're going to play until I fucking win.
Okay, and then I'll just edit all that out so you only lose. All right, thank you.
Here we go. Unwrapping.
Unraveling. This is the sound of our voices while we unravel.
I'm happy because I'm the winner this time. So that means all of us have been the winners. Now
We
we'll
have
get to
all
see.
been the winners
Yeah.
at least once.
huh?
Now who's the banana so that I can win?
So do you want to continue being the winner?
I do.
Because in this case, you actually want to pick me.
No, do I?
Yes.
You don't want to pick him due to his terrible Secret Hitler opinions. And then we can win twice in a row.
I mean, you're bringing up good points, Jeff.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Adrian, what do you have to say about
I mean,
that?
how often is this going to actually work where you could be like, don't trust Adrian, don't trust Adrian, Adrian, don't trust Zach.
And just keep
gonna
not trusting
working out
Adrian.
every single
Oh,
time.
Just keep not trusting Adrian and you'll be fine.
Remember what happened when I didn't trust you, Zach?
Yeah, that's because I was
I
doing
don't
a
want
horrible
to.
job.
I made a terrible mistake. I don't
did.
want to repeat of that terrible mistake of mine. So please choose me. I
you
want to
can-
win at least once.
All you can do
Dear God,
is
Zach.
make new mistakes by trusting Adrian. Don't do it.
All right, Adrian.
Yes, I win. I was the lose.
I told you so many
know.
times. I gave you so many chances.
You did. You did.
So Jeff won twice. Zach and I won once.
Yep.
In 3 games.
Yep.
Because yeah. So that's
My-
win, lose, and banana.
Yes, it is.
My argument was clear.
It was. I didn't want to do it.
I
but
mean,
did.
mine was absolutely. That was the best thing is I got to sell mine. Zach, pick me. I don't want to lose again.
Yeah.
That was 100% truthful. So thank you, Zach.
because if you don't, he'll lose.
I should have been Adrian. What's going to happen to me if I choose you?
See, you don't ask the questions.
I know I didn't ask the right questions. So yeah,
New mistakes were
Yep.
made.
Yeah, so there you go. If you guys want to play Win Lose Banana yourself, just find some paper, Win Lose Banana, and 2 other assholes who you don't trust.
Also, a window into how we play all of these social deduction
Yes.
games.
So yeah, that wraps up all our social deduction stuff. Check out the games we talked about, especially if any of them sounded interesting.
Yeah, especially Secret Hitler.
moving on from that, there were no other normal emails either, were there, Jeff?
Nope. Zero. Zilcho. Nada.
So, way to
Nothing.
fail, everybody. The other bit of news that we had mentioned earlier that I said we would talk about at the end of the episode. So this episode is releasing Wednesday morning, as they normally do, which is also the big announcement date for some news we've had under the vest for, we've been working on this for a couple months now, right?
Yes.
It's been going for a while. So we are very excited to be joining up with a bunch of other great content creators
That's very true.
to form Punchboard Media.
This is a network like other networks you may have heard of, but will be 1,000 times better
Because we're in it.
because we're in it.
Yes.
And it's not
we bring life and livelihood to
And-
everything we do.
It's not a podcast specific network because
No.
there are people that do videos, there are people that do written reviews
Yes.
and podcasts. But
Yes.
And it can only be better because of the swamp that is our podcast will only make everyone else look like the
It's
glittering
true.
star in the sky
Yeah.
that they deserve to be.
they'll be like, okay, we see them. They are not Mile High Game Guys. They must be great.
Yes, I'm sure that is why we were invited to be a part of this, is so that we set the bar real
Yeah,
low
there's-
for content.
Someone has to set the bar low.
Yeah.
It's for everyone else to leap over heroically.
See, I think it's hilarious, Zach. Earlier, Jeff was talking about how at the con he needed to be there because he knows how to talk to people.
Uh-huh.
All Jeff does is talk about how terrible we are.
But I do it so well that you just can't not
Yep.
love specifically me, but all of us.
Yep.
So if you want to see a full list of all of the creators, you can go to punchboardmedia.com. which is our
Punchboardmedia.com.
new website. Yes, which Jeff will now be saying in addition to our email address.
I love all of these addresses.
Yeah, so a couple other podcasts you may have heard of. Boards Alive will be joining us. Draft Mechanic, which I'm really looking forward to going to Gen Con this year because we're going to get to meet up with Jake and Danielle from Draft Mechanic. And draft is in the name. They're all about beer. And so board games and beer, I feel like we're going to be best friends.
Yeah.
Unless they only like super random games.
Yes.
I only like super random games.
Only things that involve dice.
Yeah.
And what did you play this week is a part of it. There's also a bunch of written content, stuff like the Cardboard Horde and what's Eric playing.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I love a lot is actual articles about stuff because I definitely spend more time reading than I do listening to podcasts. So written stuff on a network is very valuable to me as a network member. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. Just the way that you said that, Jeff. Just your tone and your intonation.
Just everything about
Just this right
there,
here.
right there.
So in addition to the podcast and written content, we also have video content from people like The Cubist and Cloak and Meeple and Gaming Rules because Paul Grogan also does video stuff. And so it's a pretty awesome group of people. I'm very excited to be working with a lot of them.
Smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord. We unfortunately won't be at Origins, but there will be a Punchboard Media meetup event at Origins. So for those of you going to Origins, go check that out and say hi to all of the other awesome people in our network.
Then
Looking
they'll-
forward to getting to work with some of
You
them.
should be like, "Where's Jeff?" And he's like, "He's in Denver. He can't afford to come here."
Yeah. So
And then pout and then just walk away.
Yeah.
correct. So stay tuned for more awesome content coming from all those people. We'll hopefully be working onto each other's shows and around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely check them out.
Yes.
And you can go to
Punchboardmedia.com.
for any of their info.
Correct. And you can start following now at Punchboard Media.
Yes.
Do we have a straight up at Punchboard Media Twitter?
Yep.
Nice.
It will go truly active on Wednesday, which is right now, dear listener, in your ears.
Run, don't walk.
To your nearest Twitter.
If you want to get a hold of us directly, however,
Yes.
there's a bunch of ways you can do that. Jeff, we have an email.
We have emails at milehighgameguys.com.
I tweet under at MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
And we have a Facebook page at Mile High Game Guys, Instagram at Mile High Game Guys, and Board Game Geek 2731, where Zach does a bunch of awesome posts. The more interaction he gets on them, the more intricate his posts get. Mm-hmm. This one's a little lacking because, well,
I was
he
in
was
the
in the
back
back
of a
seat of a
car.
car halfway between St. Louis and Denver.
Yep.
It was a not large car.
No.
Listeners, thank you for being a part of the show. We appreciate you guys tuning in week after week.
Yes,
And
thank you all, many of you, for listening.
Yeah.
Because it's appreciated.
It
and
is.
we would have stopped a long time ago.
So next week, when you tune in, we will be discussing Legendary Encounters Alien versus Legendary Encounters Predator. We will compare them, contrast them a little bit, tell you if they both earn a spot, and yeah.
Aliens versus Predator. I think you have something there.
In honor of the okay movie, Alien Covenant, that was just released.
I enjoyed it.
Did you see it, Zach or Jeff?
I did not. I've heard it's eh.
I enjoyed it.
CJ, as the resident ultra fan of the Alien and Predator,
Right.
shit all over it, so I know it's a mediocre Alien movie.
How are you on Michael Fassbender? Because that will...
I've heard he's the pinnacle of that movie,
Yes.
and I could see him in almost anything except Assassin's Creed.
Okay, then, yeah.
Fair enough. So yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more about that at some other point. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But tune in next week for those Alien vs. Predator games we were talking about.
Aliens and Predators.
Yep. Until then, as always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Banana Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.
I got a Twitter message, though.
Yes.
Tweet?
Yeah? No, just a Twitter message.
No?
No,
A
it was a
DM.
tweet. No, it was a tweet. So this is from Jay again.
Okay.
In the Blood Rage podcast, what was the name of the beta game that you were talking about on Steam? And it was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And he's
God damn it.
cool, thanks. Go in and check it out. So we converted somebody, Jeff.
Yes.
Good job. Boom. Told you I'd bring it up again.
Very, very well played.
I'm going to go home and play it more.
Yep.